Hello once again, viewers of TK Solutions TV. I'm TK, your host of The Pitch with TK. I'm back in studio, and today I'm joined by former Ajax Cape Town Amazulu, Moroka Swallows. In the junior ranks, he plays for Paradise FC, Remember FC, Bates FC, and then he popped up at Ajax Cape Town. I think that's where most people, we started seeing him. But he'll tell us more how his journey was. Help me welcome Shabba.
Thank you very much, TK. It's a pleasure to be here, and I can't wait to tell my story.
Yeah. No, first of all, thanks when Shabba, when we send you an invite, it wasn't a hassle to get you here. You just told us, I'll look at my schedule and come. We appreciate that. We don't take it for granted. The most important thing that most players need to understand, this is not about us. It's for them, for upcoming youngsters, and for the fans. It's about education here. We educate. And I can give you feedback that since we started this program, fans are giving us a different feedback to say, hey, we never knew football. Yes, South Africa is like this. This is opening our eyes. So other players that they do get invited, they must understand it's not about us. It's for the fans, it's for themselves, and the upcoming ones, they need to learn from them. I'm saying that because I appreciate you taking time to come and see us.
Yeah, indeed. No, there's no reason to run away. I think this platform gives us an opportunity to narrate our story, and so that we can talk about the challenges we've had, share the success stories, just to speak on a broader perspective about our football journey. So what a better place to do it than here. Yeah. So I thank you once again.
Thanks, Shabba. I read Carl from the beginning. Shabba Kautia.
Yeah, no, Shabba Kautia Mbalenhle, Sekunda.
Okay.
There's always been this tussle, okay? Ngesizulu bathi inkabi yami.
Yeah.
Villiers. I was born in Villiers in Free State.
Okay.
But from an age of 2 months probably, I moved to Mbalenhle. So that's where I spent my whole childhood. So nakotsetting akerekitswa Villiers Mbalenhle ebabatla nghaola.
Yeah.
Akerekitswa Mbalenhle Villiers ba rao so relibetse. So I'm from Villiers and Mbalenhle. It's one country, guys, and just different provinces.
Yeah.
But yeah, Mbalenhle, that's where I was raised. Come from a family, I think it was a family, no, I can't think of that. It was a family of 5. Bana ba malpapa, then with mom and dad. So it was a total family of 7.
Okay. And
I loved playing football. Started go primary school. I developed go Bates FC. There's a team that was in my hood. Coach at Nelly Salon, Kumalo. Better known as Ndiza, go extension 4. So that is the man that contributed a lot into my love of football, because I know Liko High Nikenalo Tola Tupa, because I would leave in the morning. Hakebwa Mama Rojile Kai Wetsalang and all of that. That man had us, and we loved football, and he was very passionate. So I think my love for the game developed at that stage, and I never looked back. Bates FC developed me Nikikena School Lifaletu at the time. And then from there I moved to Remember FC, where I was scouted by Elijah Mkombe, who he had contacts, he understood the game of football. And I think he would have made a great agent if he still had an interest in football, because he developed a lot of relations, And the team coach wake member, that is why it's called Remember FC. It was named after him.
Oh.
He's the master on the field of play. I mean, he's produced so many influential players. I mean, your Kelvin Gadis, they come from there. Your Tabang Munares, they come from there. Samadla Mini, they come from there. A lot of them. Mema Shangu, if I must mention, the list is endless. I can't name them all. So that is where we would have been. Okay. And I then attended high school called Thistle Grove, which is in Kinross, a city just outside the township Yarunaya ko Mbalenhle. And from there on, that is when I then moved to Ajax. And my move to Ajax, remember, we played a friendly game somewhere in Joburg. I was not familiar with Joburg at the time. We were playing Robert Chemkelis. Team Enelia Lucky Stallion. I remember his son is Ron.
Yako Joburg South.
Yes, Yako Joburg. So Ron also at some point came through, and he was playing for Remember in some of the games. That's the bond that they had with Elijah, of which we call him Licha.
Okay.
So little did we know that on that day, there are scouts that are there from Ajax. We were just there to play a friendly game, and that is why Bipolar, everything you do, you must do it to the best of your ability, because you don't know who is watching and what opportunity is waiting to be grabbed at the time. So I gave my all, in that game. And it was very fortunate because even before that game, I was in training, I think for a week or two, but I was trusted Kaukor. So I made it and I went and I played, and Ajax saw potential, and then 4 of us were scouted. It was SAFPU Mfukeng, who didn't make it to the elite, but let's go tax in the NFD, and his late may soul rest in peace. It was Sibusiso Temba Shoti, who played for Swallows. It was us who were taken at that age. It was Temba Mahlangu, known as So, who also played at tax, but his career didn't flourish that much, and myself. And we were told that Latsamala, Cape Town.
Age-wise by then?
We were 14, we were around that age. And now we're told, okay, Latsamala, Cape Town. Cape Town, yes, Lulodlala Ajax. Okay. When? No, Steve Hopt was the scout on the day. He was there with Henk Bodeves, who is late, who's from Holland as well. So we're told, in a week or so, they will come back, so that they get permission to take you guys. And mind you, when we played that game, it was in April. So we were taken around May. Things were organized because I think what they saw, they could not let it go or wait until the following year because we might be taken by somebody else. We were snatched on the spot. And a week later, Mangamla fitla kumbalentle. Elijah informs us or no, they are coming through to talk to the parents. And I remember the meeting, Neliko High. So all parents came and we gathered. And they expressed their interest, but Babatla Urinka, and they told them this is how the program works. We'll be kept in the house, we'll have a guardian, we will go to school, we'll be training. They believe we have potential to make it. Parents were excited, I was as well. I think that is when I realized that actually this could be the reality. Cape Town before I could believe it. Because and eventually they don't follow through.
Correct.
So that was it and everything. And I think our parents received 2,000 rand each. I don't know whether it was signing on fee or just gratitude or just to make the process smooth. But it was highly appreciative. And
the team that you were training with, did they receive anything?
They had their discussions, I remember at the time, we didn't know anything about players when they are moving and everything. But I can assure you that he came through to Cape Town a number of times to check on us. And it was on Ajax's expense. And maybe there was financial remuneration. I would not know much, but I know there were equipments, leeches, Ajax and all other things. He would just come and collect and take.
Okay.
So after that meeting, it was a done deal. There it was. A week later, there we are on the bus, Rekenago Park Station. We went for 18 hours, 19 to 20. It was, for night was an adventure. I've never traveled for that long. And I was looking forward to the next phase of my life to say, what is on the other side? And I'm going to Cape Town. It's the first time I've been in Cape Town.
So and do you have an adult with you?
No, really 4.
We
really 4 when we left, because immediately basic it would drop us go Park Station or Cape Town. Then there'd be a car waiting for us. And Arilenda, they knew the time if it's Langayona. And there's an Ajax taxi that is beautifully branded. Then I'm like, okay, the dream is alive.
Getting closer.
Getting into that combi was the proudest moment of my life, because I know that this is, make it or break it. I'm finally here, and we have to showcase these people what we're capable of. And that's how we were taken, and we were housed, we were schooled, we found a very disciplined structure as Ajax at that time. And in Temnandi, must figure it was in May. And in June, Ajax had just won the Nike Cup. So in July, in May they had won it, or April. July, June, they are jetting off to Amsterdam for the Nike International Tournament. Now, we trained with the team and played games for less than 3 weeks, if not a month. And we all made the cut, finding other players who were there at Ajax. So it just showed that we were special, and we traveled and we went to Amsterdam.
Within a month from now, Embalenhle, Cape Town, Amsterdam.
Rebetile heist. Football heist.
Good football's life can change quick.
it was quite amazing because all of these things, you know, I was still pinching myself to really check it out. Or is this the reality? And we were really spoiled because for the first time, I woke up and I didn't have to make my bed. There were people in the house who were assigned for that. Our uniform was ironed. The breakfast was prepared when we wake up. We eat, we leave everything as it is. We make our way to school. So all these things you're trying to check, like, where are we here, you know? So it was overwhelming. It was really beautiful and life-changing. And there were other players in that house. I remember Fitla. Stephen Pienaar was staying in the guest house because it was a lot of us. It was the 4 of us from MP that I've mentioned. You had a Bryce Moon who was in the lower level. You had a Russell Kuzwayo. You had Mfundo Matonsi. There was Stephen Pienaar who was in that house. We had Sean Potgieter who was there. And Musa, known as Ukanda from Durban. And a few other guys from Durban. So I think we were 12, 13. And Stephen was the only first team player who was there. And he just scored that glorious goal against Pirates that everybody remembers from the halfway line when he destroyed them. So it was unreal to see him in the house and get to greet him even because we didn't understand each other that much at the time. But that moment made us realize that there's a guy who's living a dream that we want and we are here. Definitely this, you know, plane is about to take off. And it was just overwhelming.
And then the trip to Amsterdam happens. You guys are in the team. Do you get to play when you get that side?
Yeah, we made a cut. I was a striker, by the way.
You started as a striker.
You might just know me as this guy who's been kicking people, you know, it's skill and all of that. I was a top striker. I was lethal. So we then moved to Amsterdam. We played that tournament. I was a joint top goal scorer with 4 if not 5 goals with somebody else from other teams because we had teams from South America, you know, the Bolivia teams and all of that, including some from Amsterdam. So it was a big event. And I was top goal scorer jointly with that player. That is where Ajax Amsterdam then handpicked me and said they want me to come over and train with their youth because they believe there is potential with me. So a month, I'm in the team. I'm jetting off to Holland. I'm the top goal scorer of the world at that point. I've been scouted by Ajax Amsterdam. What a great way to start my career, you know. It was unbelievable.
So after the trip, or you stayed behind?
No, after the trip, we had to come back. So the arrangement had to start the following year, which was, I think, 2001 in January. And hopefully at that time, they were dealing with issues being an immigrant. Or being young as well, because I was just 15 or so. Now you needed to be 18 in order to move to the other side. So because most players would go to the other side and they'd be abused and all of that. So the regulations had changed to protect the minors when they move abroad because they are subjected to abuse, you know, to a level that we cannot comprehend. So I had a 3-month stint in Amsterdam, January. Then March I'm back, I'm at Ajax. So it was like a student application type of a thing, or a student visa, where it's just 3 months in, then I'm back in Cape Town 3 months, then I'm back in 3 months. So it was that back and forth just to check and manage. I got there, I did well. I was playing with the likes of Ryan Babel, Wesley Snyder, you know, just to name a few that I remember, you know, from the team. And it was the greatest feeling training at the Ajax, young Ajax compound where we were training. And it was very difficult as much as it was exciting because I think my first few days on arrival, I stayed with Stephen Pienaar and Ninja Mfuke because they were both playing for the reserve side of the first team. So for 2, 3, 4 days just to adjust a bit, I was with them and there was a lot of guidance that they'd given, you know. And I think I was very close with Stephen because we had a relationship, not a relationship per se, but he knew me from the guest house when I arrived, you know, and they would watch some of our games, and I think they just found us very exciting, as it were. So he taught me things. He taught me how to take a tram. He took me to town unexpectedly as well. He bought me a few items. I think my first ever pair of Lacostas, it was acquired by him, and a few other items. So everything was just going so well, even though I was intimidated by these guys. But I sat with him, and he's a very beautiful storyteller, by the way. So I would enjoy all of those things, and it made me calm down a bit. Then I moved into the family. Now that's where the problem started a bit.
Amsterdam?
Yes, the family is Dutch. husband and a wife. They speak Dutch. They speak 30% of English. Now, I don't speak Dutch at all. I speak English. At least I have an understanding of English at the time. So the communication was a bit challenging. And also what I found to be challenging, I come from a background which is previously disadvantaged. To them, it's something they don't really relate to because it's a beautiful city, properly structured. There's not poverty. I did not witness any sign or an element of poverty when I was there. Streets are clean, people are working. I think there's a minimum wage that is the country has for everybody else, you know. So, akina Facebook, akina phone, forget Facebook.
Yeah.
Now, Kidula Mole, I'm only allowed one phone call. You know, a week, because it's still expensive to South Africa. Now I could just call home, a quick call. Sometimes I miss my cheetah. So it got to be very lonely and challenging because I would go train. It's new guys, they speak Dutch. There's an element of hostility. That's just how football comes. But they respect you. Once you start displaying the magic on the field of play, you slowly feel and understand that they are gravitating towards you. But when the bus on my way home, I'm with the family. There are things that I expected. They want me to be involved within the family activities and all of that. I'm still uncomfortable. Everything just happens so quickly for me. Now I have to adjust. For them, they saw it as resistance. And for me, it's a part that I needed to learn in my life to adjust and adapt to other cultures and be open-minded so that I can grow as a human being. No one prepared me for this. And I walked into it and we had our, you know, squabbles here and there because I felt they just failed to relate. But on the football aspect, everything was good. The first 3 months, I scored a lot of goals and I was highly appreciated and everybody wanted to see me come back. And it was even more motivating when Steven and Ninja would come and watch some of my games because I would want to make them proud because they are the only South Africans that I know from abroad. And they would give me feedback after the game and congratulate and shake the hand. It meant a lot. So I kept going, but it was very difficult. At 15, I'm in another country. I call home once, it's less than 2 minutes, and that's it. The rest of everything, it's Amsterdam or Holland or Europe imposed on me. It was overwhelming. So I was depressed, but I didn't know what was depression at the time. But I was chasing the dream, so I was more determined. Yeah.
And then you stay for how long until you come back to Ajax now full time?
It was a stint of 2 to 3 years in Leona, the up and down.
In and out.
And for me not to sign a professional contract, I then got an injury. First
Why?
time, in fact, I left Cape Town getting injured. So when I got to the other side, I was treated. But the last 3 months, I was on the physio bed. Now it became, to say no, maybe go back, push on towards out, we'll come and monitor, maybe we'll invite you, and at that time you might be 18 and we might sign you. So things were really looking good, but that was a very unfortunate event for me, which I think took away the dream that I was chasing, which I was very close to achieving. Then 18 years, I'm back to South Africa.
But you still got structures at Ajax?
I'm still with Ajax Cape Town. Yes.
Development reserve team?
Nah, I signed a contract immediately upon return, the first team contract.
When you come
18.
back?
Yes.
At what age, 16?
I was 18.
18?
Yes.
And who signed you? Who was the coach at the time?
It was Gordon Icasent.
He's the one who gave you a first contract. Was it his choice or the management said sign the boy?
There is never a way Gordon would give me a contract. I was deserving. So when I came back, I was given a contract that I deserved. So coming back, I signed a contract. So I can't say it's him who gave me the contract, but he's a coach. And he knows who he wants to work with. Even though I didn't get the sense that the decision was his, you know, at the time. Because I was highly favored by management. John Committees, man. He's the best.
Yeah.
The best CEO that you can come across, you know. And him and his brother, we had a relationship, but I'll talk about it later because George came later to Ajax when John moved into other things in terms of business. But the support, the love, you know, the encouragement, the professionalism, we could relate. At 18, I could sit with the chairman of the club and not want to open the door and hide because he just made you that comfortable. He took your views, he listened, and he knew how to address people. He had humility, he had respect, but he had deep, profound love for his players. that's what made us shine, because every time we saw him, we wanted to do it for him, not being aware that we're actually doing it for us more than we do it for him. So I was then taken into the first team signed under Gordon Ikasin, who was the coach. Very difficult time. Because Gordon is in my analysis, is very well at working with senior players. He's good at that. Youngsters, I think he fell short, because when I was promoted, it was me and Graham King. We were the only 2 youngsters in the team. The rest, they were in their 23s, 24s, moving up to the seniors of the seniors. So the guidance that we ought to get from there, I think it lacked somehow, because as talented and as good as you are, now you are in the elite league. And what a better way to get a coach that understands how to work with youth and guide you, you know, through your path, make you understand that it's okay to make mistakes. You are going to commit errors, and know how to address you to build the confidence. But in most cases, I just felt it was the opposite. I don't think he was prepared for that. I don't know how he handled youngsters in other teams, but as players we talk. From team to team to team, you would hear, so most youngsters felt he was not relatable.
Yeah. He was not a coach for the young ones.
No, I don't think he was the coach for the young ones. Now, what I viewed is that when I arrived for first team, he already had a view about me, which I don't understand where he got it from. I would have been the best player in the youth at the time, hot property. I would have never been in the disciplinary hearing in all the junior levels at Ajax, under 14, under 15, under 17 and everything. We won Bay Hill Cups when we played, which was the best accolades that I received whilst I was at Ajax. There's never been any problem with me. I work hard, you know, I pushed and gave everything. So I did not really understand the relationship, and maybe I appeared as though I'm arrogant. I don't know, because if I remember, when I moved and I was promoted to under 17, Duncan Crowley was the coach. And I also didn't get the sense that he's receiving us well, because we were like the stars in the youth structures. Everybody had expectations about us. Everybody was excited about us. But after a month or two, he called me and he said to me, you know, when you guys were promoted, I was very worried, because I thought you are pompous, you've got an attitude and this and that, which will be bad for my team, and I would not be respected by you guys because you come highly recommended. But I am humbled with the level of professionalism that we have displayed and the respect that you have shown me and how you guys have united the team. Keep it up and keep moving. That was touching. So from there, it was under 19 with Ian Korowa. Same issue, best relationship that we had, which is why it allowed us to grow better as footballers. So now I'm in the first team, it's a different ball game. So the changing of my position, I was a striker. For me to be converted into a midfielder, it was based on my level of perseverance. I wanted it so bad, and I would not let anyone deter me, even if it was a coach who was negative more than being positive, in my view, with the way that I was handled. So the first season, I never made the 18 in the team. It's normal. You are there. You know, you are learning. You've got your Maimani Piris, you've got your Lebuhang Ngakes, you've got your Sipon Zuzos, your Monique Josephs, your Shane Bochenbulls, your Brent Karelse. You know, that team was the crop.
It had experience in senior.
Experience, your Cholola Chinyamas, you know, the DRC guys who came in.
Was Russell Mwafulira that they got from Cosmos?
He came at a later stage. We related well, because when he came, I was a household. Okay. And he's a very humble guy, beautiful soul to be around. So at that time, the team's experience is difficult for you first season to even make 11. Yes, 18. Not 11.
Hey, you never make 18.
No, I welcomed it. I was willing to learn, and I was excited to learn from these guys. I am here. I've signed my contract. I'm in the PSL. I've got a jersey with Shabba at the back. My parents are proud. My mom calls and cries on the phone. My brothers are excited. My dad, you know, is humbled, and I hear him speak to me differently, which tells me that I'm a man, because my dad was a very tough guy, you know, and you check it out, you're like, okay, I'm doing something great. Then I play.
First season goes.
First season goes. In that first season, there'd be a first 11. Now, I'd be in the other team, obviously. When there's no right back, I'm playing right back. Maybe for a week or two if the player is injured. They reserve for the ones who plays in the first team. Kadlala. Left back ayo kida. Kadlala. Left wing umingeko kulela vig ngiyadlala. I was just rotated. Maybe I would have been a goalkeeper at some point. I don't remember, But I had to push. So I was demotivated. I loved being a striker. I believed I was good as a striker, and I just needed someone to believe in me for that. It didn't happen. So filling up these positions, at some point I wanted to really give up, because you come highly recommended from the youth. You're the best they have. Now you are just used, Uber. Pick up a mole. Now I don't know. And I can't even ask the coach. I'm still young, and I feel like I'm challenging his authority or anything. I take it. And my performance went a bit downhill. And then I reviewed and I looked at it. I would talk to the closest people that I know. I talk to my family and everybody. And they encouraged me to say, keep pushing, including some of the senior players that were there. So I had to keep pushing. And I pushed.
And then when do they move you now from striker to midfield?
It was by default, because the second season I came back a better person, revived, stronger. And my biggest drive was to beat the coach. The biggest challenge ever. I wanted to prove him wrong. Sometimes they say it's good in football. Indeed it is. But I wish the circumstances were different. That challenges us to challenge ourselves to that level. As a kid, you want that guidance, especially when you come from where you come from. Now, I played and I was used in different positions as well in the beginning. But I think there's a player that was injured, and he played in the middle, and he was out for a month or two. And the way I started training in that position, the coach had no choice but to elect me, because I gave my all and I started to excel and I started enjoying that position, which was a great thing as well to see happening. And that's how I was moved, because TK, if I can remember very well, you are 18, 19, the game flows and you receive a ball. And Shabba pass. And now Shabba pass, coach, hi, what are you doing? Stop. Stop us a shit. Okay, Sharp, what are you doing? I saw a free player I played. But the better move would have been there, because if I did that, there would have been 1-2, where it's an explanation you expect from the coach. So confused. I'm like, okay, and wanting to learn and being eager. What should I have done there in that scenario? And the response that you get is, don't ask me shit. Just play the way I want you to play. Which way is that?
Yeah.
Give us guidance.
Yeah.
And this is the response you get. Okay, toughen up. I keep moving. And I think that gave me the drive I didn't know that I have. I surpassed all of that. I played. Eventually in that position, he could not ignore me anymore. And I became better. And I scored my first goal. And I'm not one who's good with football memory, by the way.
Yeah.
This is junior Kanye.
Yeah.
I think a few months back, I don't know profile. I was never a guy who keeps those things. Under 20.
Yeah.
That man was angry at me. No, you cannot know these things. And I said, what Shabba see, we never too. He started reminding me of things, because there are things that I just don't capture.
Yeah.
Which sometimes is a downfall, how to CV, because I was never, I just played and kept it moving.
Kept going.
Yeah, so that's where we were. I played, I scored against Swallows, it was a derby. 1-0 the score, we won. And I built it up from there. And there are things that players would not say, which we complained about amongst ourselves. And this is an analysis from us, which is a true reflection of what I'm going to tell you. I'm not attacking anybody.
Yeah.
I'm narrating my story. The biggest challenge that we also had, the coach had a son. Grant Ickerson, his son. Grant was a striker. So sometimes even when I was performing well on the position 9-10, I was played out as a wing, even though I was doing better than Grant at the time. I'm not saying I was better than him, but at that particular moment, you need to look at it and adjust. Grant was a striker. Now, it's okay. I learned to play right wing because of forced circumstances. And it built me, I suppose. Now, retraining. Harriet's extra work. I'm a striker. Nathan Paulse is a striker. Whoever else is a striker. But our job is to cross balls for Grant to finish.
Yeah, and it shouldn't be because you are strikers also.
We must rotate. We would spend an hour.
Yeah. So your job is to square, he finishes.
That's how I learned to be a wing and cross balls as well.
There is no time where he must square for you guys to finish.
Maybe out of 50 balls, 3 times or 4 times. Maybe 10.
Yeah.
Most of the time, and we couldn't do anything. We're hungry, we want to move. We can't be activists. And we don't know who to go to at that point in time. And there's no time for crybabies. So we would cross the whole day until we have groins. Grant wa finisher, wa Mesa wa finisher. It's our reality. And we accepted that that's how it is. We had our own talks, but you could not take it anywhere else. We grew from there. So once I started playing and I dominated my position, there was no way that you would kick me out of the team because you needed to reason with sound or why am I not in the team. So I forced some situations. I'm not saying I was not liked. Maybe the coach had an understanding saying before I came, or maybe as a weakness of working with youngsters, but it took a lot of time before we gelled. I think I earned his respect.
By performance?
By performing. To a point where it was just okay, and he realized that I'm not a problem child. Maybe he also viewed me in different light, like Duncan Crowe said, it appeared as though I'm this way, but I'm not that way. Never been in a disciplinary hearing, never, nothing, no transgression in my career. That was the second season.
But Gordon is still the coach, and now you are cool with him.
Yes, I do my work, I work hard. You know what motivated me a lot? You know, and funny, I sent him a text some weeks back and I said, I need to come through and see him. My money peer. When my money came from overseas, my man nandrata man. My money when I kai. So my money tells and narrates the stories. Who saw? Groundung, he's the hardest. He fights. And I learned, man can look lomal I must push a kunyana, give alwana di molo, wanganyo gintwana, but why is not saying Mukenika elbow? I can understand the chiming or only pilwempo these guys. So I needed to learn and adjust and understand. This man saw potential, but I think he just wanted me to understand the professional side of football and to be disciplined and dedicated and be hungry and push and want and fight to be the best that I can be. So everything that I did and most of the things that he introduced me, so he would drive, we would go to places, even if it's just for lunch that we're having and any other thing. How only the issues is there. When he feels I'm not playing well, he talks to me. When he needs to be hard, he was hard. But my money was the brother that I never had. And we just connected on that level and until the day when he left. But what he left me with was a tool that I needed to pass on to other players. He paid it forward. Now we have a responsibility as well when we grow and we become senior players to also share the experiences that were shared with us and assist other ones as well so that it can move on and we become better as a football fraternity, as a team, and maybe as a nation if that's the concept that we'll adopt. But I'll forever be grateful. And he has never asked for a single thing from me, but he wanted to see me prosper and do the right things. And he taught me a lot of responsible decisions that I ought to take, be it money, be it women, be it any other step that I needed to take and grow. Piri was the guy that I would go to, very easygoing, and he would take me through everything that I wanted to know about the game in life in general. So it was truly amazing. Yeah.
So now, second season goes, my money has helped, he guided you, you are more stronger, you are more determined, you can resist and know disc. Whatever happens, I must keep focused. Now, third season, because one thing you didn't tell me is, how signed a first team contract at Ajax? You signed it for how long?
It was 3 years. My first contract was 3 years.
3 years.
Yes.
And at that time, unale representative or who's your agent? Because we're 18 months. plus minus 18.
Yeah. I was managed by Pro Sport.
Already at that time?
At 15. Pro Sport, we were managed by Pro Sport when we were 15. Mike Macab would fly, come through to Cape Town, sit with us, tell us about football and how it works and all of those things. You know, small chats, very sweet guy. He's an honest guy, in my view, in what I've encountered of him. So we were very comfortable.
Yeah.
And it's the first time we even heard of agents and understood exactly what is it that they do. So he looked after our affairs. There were those regular visits. He would watch our games. So I had my cap. So when I moved into my first team contract, Mike was my agent.
Okay.
But there was no room for negotiation.
When usually from development to first team is default. It's set up like that.
It is.
Yeah.
And it's, you can't fight it.
Yeah.
You want to play professional football. It's your dream. It's not about the money.
Yeah.
And this is the team that took me from the dusty streets, you know, of MP, where I didn't even know that dreams can be realized. Now they paid for my school, for my development, my transportation, and I got an allowance in Yana eating. I can't complain.
Yeah.
Even if we were to try and think for the next 5 minutes, what is it that I want to criticize about Ajax in the youth and the time I spent? There's nothing at all.
Yeah.
So me being there and sign,
it's
a blessing.
Most players who I spoke that with Robert Jacks, they rate them highly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now, third season, is Igerson still the coach or he leaves?
Okay, before Vitlamo, my first contract was 2,500. It was in the year 2003.
Yeah, but that's from development to
that's
first
from
team.
Development. It's a 3-year thing. Nekinali signing on fee 2,500 as well.
Yeah.
So okay, 5
Yeah.
Taxing yana maybe for 820, you know, 4,820. It's okay.
Yeah.
I'm happy.
So Grangran Oshalaga 2,000 take home. After tax?
No, it was because he can only signing one fee.
Yeah.
So it was the first time I had 4,800 in my account. And they were paying for my accommodation. And they put in furniture. So you had structure, not only TV, tafula, so couch, so what I just needed to do was buy groceries with what I had and manage that and learn how to cook, struggle through that, you know. And so it was fine. And Oscar Mohadi, Limfundo Matonsi, because Nalimfundo Shumana, when he was promoted, we stayed in a house with them because they were more seniors and more responsible. The love that I also got from there, we've just been fortunate in our journey, some of us. It was truly amazing, and the brotherhood, it was the best. So I then started growing and moving up.
Yeah.
Then that's the contract that I have.
But this 2.5, sorry, is for the next 3 years.
Yeah.
Depending how you're going to perform, you'll only negotiate after 3 years.
I don't remember the details, but I think if I played 10 games, there would be an increment of some sort. 10 games, it was like that.
Yeah.
And I didn't earn that money for long, because first season I wasn't playing. Second season I started in, it was great. Then just before the third or second, my performances were overwhelming. John came, I remember, in the changing room to give us the tough talk about those who are really not, lifting their weight. And on the spot he said, Lentwana le, the way he's corner and the commitment that he's giving and everything, is dying for the badge, and he's so young and any other thing, mentioning me. I can tell you right now that if you work hard, you will be rewarded, and that's how it is. So I'm going to triple his salary. So from the next pay, what he will get is triple the amount of what he's earning now. So nobody knows how much I earn at the time.
Yeah.
So those who think maybe I'm on 10, they're like, yeah, got 18, did some more. So I was grateful. Then it was 9K that I was earning. Even more push into that. I pushed. I think Odin was then, he left Ajax, because at some point we finished runners up. And we were number 2. I can't remember one day league. I told you about my memory that season. That's when we played Champions League as Ajax. And I'm the first player to score a goal in the Champions League for AS Cape Town. Another milestone. It might be small because maybe Ajax is underestimated, or it's a so-called small team. But for me, and making that history, it means I'm making my mark, and I'm ready to progress on to, you know, the next level and achieve greater things moving forward.
So when Gordon left, who's coming in?
Hutlile man.
Was not Mushin, or Mushin came later, or did they promote Gordon Ian Koroa?
I think Wela Itwara Hanyan, because we had Wela Itwara Hanyan.
Ian.
Yes, I think Wela Itwara Hanyan, but Mushin Erchukal came. No, it was Mushin because Ian was assistant. Yeah, Mushin. Mushin came, and he's a knowledgeable coach. Tactically sound, understands the game. He can plan for the game. Session style, they were fun. It brought back the love of football. You know, coaching styles are different. Gordon was a guy who believed more in the physical game, set pieces, you know, with the strong boys, yes, and those type of things. Playing, yeah, okay, if you have people who can manage the game, but he was not really interested much on the flair. He was result orientated. Now you've got somebody else that comes who's going to change the whole mindset. So it was an interesting transition that has happened. And I forgot Champions League Rizalali Al Ahly in Egypt.
Then that's where you scored.
Stadium cell is ready, TK.
Yeah. How is the feeling there?
You can't even hear me. Give me more. Harutwani scream.
Yeah.
It's lasers everywhere. It was just an atmosphere that I couldn't comprehend. Wekunzima. Siyadlala kuyashisa dlala ebusuku. Probably 35 to 40 degrees ebusuku. And mina ngileze ithanda ukujuluka.
Yeah.
And yazi benginomzimbanyana vele anyway.
Yeah.
But ngithepile body yakhe. Ngithathi ngibeke.
Yeah.
Hayi man. No one told us there's a guy called Mohamed Abu Tariq.
Aish, Jesse number 22.
We were not warned. Even in our team talk.
You didn't know about him?
No.
You didn't pay attention to him?
I didn't know about Abu Tariq until after that game. I think it was him and some guy called Mustafa.
Yeah.
And we went with a young team because Ajax, you know, it believes in development. That's when the Mfundo Shuma started coming up. You had your Granwell Scots. Nazir Ali, we came up, I think, more or less the same time, or it was a season late. So we have an exciting young team with a mixture of senior players. We were doing well in other countries, fine.
Yeah.
Monip and them, they are leading the team as the seniors, and he's a great guy. He'll make you believe that you can do things that you didn't think you can do. He's a great motivator. He can just bring out the animal in people. Monip there is. Ariada, TK, let's say 45 minutes. I'm going to touch the ball like three times. Ngama interception. There was never even 4 passes put together by Ajax in that game. So half time, now you can imagine if you don't have the ball, it means you are chasing and working hard.
Yeah.
So Bipolar can go changing room ka half time. I know I felt to that game kitlo thola heart attack. I love my life. So can I changing room rap lo? And because we would change strip. Only Chezia yes. And now kia sweat. It's where Albert Hendricks, the kid manager on. Utlavo magadi tawe like any one to
try.
Yeah, yeah, na fell on the other side because that's just how Perry is even the socks and all. So okay, can I get latla chezi fat inside the socks really short, the boots, he puts on the floor. Nabile. Now coach will team talk. So this coach has me in the plans for second half. I'm like, I do well done. I can't breathe. I'm struggling to understand. I'm dizzy. Things are bad. You know, and no security him. Wabo nona lidi taspinya na tsenya ntsetsena lidi ice. Yeah. So no one saw what was happening. Now I think being penal moy. Mbambele taspin nga hit. What did limits whatever tsamal when I was like, and coaching guard can swim. He looks at me. You know, the fat skin to again. Yeah. What the fuck are you doing? I'm drinking water. I'm recollecting myself.
Nobody's aware what Tago is no longer with us.
No, sure.
We're losing him.
Yeah, sure. I'm like, okay, I love my job. Can I contract? But I just felt this close to the doors of heaven because of playing football. Then I'm like, Coach Abuts, I was like, no, I can't go back. I quit.
What done well the second half?
No, I quit. I quit. So I'm like, no, coach, I don't have anything. Come on, son, be strong. We gotta fight. I know at that point, and we were good. I was a regular and trusted. Yeah. It's like, no, God.
Half time was our score or in the
4-0 or something, or maybe 5. But I never, even if it was 0-0, I was going to die. Yeah. Yeah, that's how Perry was. So they went back. I didn't go back in. He was very angry with me. And he didn't talk to me, you know, and He told me that, no, you will never wear the jersey of the team if this is your attitude. Coach did not understand what I was going through. And I understand because it was not as evident, but what uyazizwa man.
Yeah.
Ubona noma usemola uhamba nomuntu athi ngiya collapse. Umbona nje. So normally I don't know, people expect for it jumping karuna little feet sweats and tottering before they realize that you're going to collapse. I was okay with that. I lived with it. Downhill, you know, that moment was very depressing for me. Pacing, driving back, flying back to Cape Town, and wait to prepare for the next game. Dynamos. But I respected him there. He was a bigger person. I started the next game, which was I think on Wednesday. After Pienaar Al Ahly was on a Friday, then with the traveling, they made provision for that. Yeah. I scored at Dynamos. It was 2 goals in that game. And it brought me back, you know. That moment was big for me because, in all honesty, I expected to stay out for long or maybe not to wear the jersey again based on how strict he would have been as a person. But it was fine. Then we moved on. But yes, we can come to the other question.
Yeah, but before that, just tell me about Apotrika, because I think I spoke to one of the former Pirates midfielders, but off the line, not here. He said that guy is so difficult to manage because even if they say man mark him, he always goes opposite to where the guys are going. If his team is going this way, he goes this way. So it's very difficult to look after him. What was challenging about Apotrika?
I'm still confused. TK Mamela, never trust.
Yeah.
Come in, Maki. I'm in Zwamba now. Matiwa, your job today, Nangumuntu. As in Funenza next, Bengima now no mupuza mans. No mutoli instruction go coaches like Lelezi too. How fast are the Putziki aim? I can even assist you as long as you are next to me. It was my task on the day. But I did not know the you know, the stature or the nature of this assignment. I never knew where this guy was. But every time he wanted the ball, night hall. And I was far from him. So the team was suffering because I couldn't catch up with this guy.
The person who's supposed to man mark and is the one that makes that team play.
Yes, and I gave my all and I left it on the field. So that's why after I mean, it was crazy.
Yeah, and then you are back. Mushin, he forgave you for what happened.
No, it was Gordon. No, that was Gordon.
Oh, it was still Gordon?
Yes, that was Gordon.
Oh.
Remember, I went back and said there's a story that I forgot in the Gordon era. Yes.
Oh, it was still, you were still with Gordon there?
Yes. Then Mushin came.
Yeah.
Everything different, beautiful, amazing.
I
love football.
Yeah.
I understood structures. You would train Coach Jiming without an idea of what you're doing. When he explains and it works, you'd understand. There were zones. You would have to calculate a particular distance, the issues of covering. If this one, we all knew we were in sync. Our football started getting to a better level, which is why Ajax was very young and exciting. And he preferred to work with youngsters. So he could spot potential.
That's when we were calling you his chickens.
Yes.
That was the time.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was us.
Yeah.
And we had fun times. We enjoyed. Because I was also, career my injury. Given a party now, because when I picked Nkalang Banenking party, because the mentality am be right. Bengboya, ngilwa. So I would get quickly, negiba fiti kapel. But besenya limale mva kwesikhathi because bengena TK. No mina bengiyinkomo. I you know kuliko kasi no bampotsa. Mina udletsi 12 years mara no li home. Kira sure. But ineki rata and when yetsa because my commitment and dedication where someone puts the foot, I was willing to put my head if it's the only thing I can put on the line to stop him from taking advantage or scoring a goal. That was just me. Horimlala, you know, itinyigile intamo or kinali sprain. If I miss 3 games, it's fine. It worked for us here. That's just how I was, and it wasn't trained. It's something that I had in me. So it worked. We were fine. We had structures. We enjoyed. Only problem, Kamshin, it was just these emotions.
Short fuse.
Yeah, I think if you could control that better, a lot of things would work out fine, you know. But I also think sometimes this is the problem that one realized when we looked across. We, as South Africans, I think we would have these European coaches come through. And when they are employed, then they reign supreme. And sometimes they're even bigger than management. Now you have created an animal, which is what I've experienced with a few of some of the coaches which were from abroad when they come through. I think Machine had the very same sense as well. He had too much powers and unnecessary in my view. Because TK, who employs Machine?
It's the chairman.
Who employs me?
The chairman.
Chairman. The coach, obviously, because he chooses
Yeah,
which
yes.
player what. But that makes the both of
The
us...
coach will recommend,
Yes.
the chairman will sign.
Yes. So it makes the both of us employees of Ajax. So I cannot find myself in a situation where I'm working with a coach and I feel like this coach is the chairman of the team. Something is wrong. Because sponsor coach is very simple. Maybe difficult. But in my analysis, we prepare a team, well conditioner, they guide you, they raise your tactical and technical awareness and all other things. Yes, football is a game of
Emotion.
facts here and there. Klapper, get it right. Didn't Klapper say minor, which are very, it's to motivate and uplift. There's that aggression part which is very reasonable.
Yeah.
But you can't cross the boundaries. Because now I start to get the sense that I wake up to do what I love, but I'm just being abused by the employee of the club, whose job is to just give me a proper path in terms of how I must play football. I have a responsibility. Application, dedication, respect, align myself with the team goals, and every other thing that is set out there. It's my responsibility to uphold all of those principles and move with pride and defend the badge and give the best that I can. But you cannot therefore start insulting me from the morning until the sun comes out. And it's not simple insults at times. You know, if you are called an idiot over and over, sometimes the mind starts to believe it. You lose confidence.
Yeah.
It goes down.
Yeah.
And I've always been very opinionated in the game. And not about football in general, but about life and how you treat people. I've always been very aware of that. And I was very sure of my surroundings. So I wouldn't take kindly to abuse. Sometimes you would leave it as it is because you just want peace and play football. But kunesikhathi la komele kumiwe phansi sixoxe ungunderstand ukuthi kwenzekani ngawo. You know, because ngiyinsizwa ubaba. But even my dad at home and my mom, when something is not right, I was, you know, raised that way. I sit down with them and I address how I feel, and they must consider my feelings and explain to me or clarify where they come from. We try and find a solution. If we cannot, then it's fine. Then I understand that that is their position. We are agreeing to disagree. At the end of the day, abazali. But at least, which they must consider from time to time. Doesn't have to be immediate, because banally pride will be like, this kid is controlling me. It's the same thing. So ngila ayingiyayithatha lento. Okay, it's fine. I move. I live with it. We move. It just keeps happening. Good games. Ramanal bipolar man. He's very happy. He protects his players very much. I can tell you that much. But I only had a problem when I felt like he acts as though he owns the monopoly of being emotional about football. I get emotional. All other players get emotional. It cannot be the right of the coach. It's not on his contract that this is the only guy that must be emotional.
Yeah.
So don't rain on me all the time to a point where he had a fallout with Maputi Kanyes. I think Abiana at some point, Coach Chiefs, or was that VV? I don't remember.
When he had a fellow with Maputi, were they Chiefs or Ajax?
Coach Chiefs.
And he made Abiana cry also. Was it him or VV?
I'm not too sure of that, but I know Edwin Chima. There was also a story with them at the airport, which I read and I understood. But I could relate.
Yeah. So when was the time where hell broke loose between you and him?
It was no build up. Because there's a time where we did pre-season. And Clifford Ngobeni did very well under Mushin Tukal actually at the time. And when Mushin joined the team, I was out for, I think, a whole season. Because Lingwell, I need me track, then get a pair. Yes. So he took advantage of that opportunity, became a household name. Very proud of him, and we were very close. We once shared an apartment when he was still coming up. I mentored Clifford. We stayed together, you know, so did well. Now, there is this person. At some point, I would block the insults now and then. I'm a senior at the time at the team. The changing room, I combined the changing room. There were problems also at Ajax. There were racial issues as well that were brewing, and they were going to just blow out, out of control, and it would have collapsed the team, which we addressed at some point, which is something that I'll get to. But we went to Holland pre-season, and I remember there's a game we played with one of the teams. I was playing anchor. One of the best games of my life. First game, Yaro. And he complimented everybody, teammates, and when you've done well, even if people keep quiet, whatever, nah, I did it. Now there were interested parties. It was communicated. I was told by the team manager, everybody else that would speak, even him said, yeah, listen, a lot of teams are looking at you. They told me you play very well, and that's how we spoke. So keep it up, show them. Next game you're playing, you gotta give you all, and okay, sharp. Next game, he plays me number 10. I've been an anchor. I'm a 6 and 8. That's where I excelled. It's the next game. The second game, I would have sealed the deal. Kedlala number 10. I'm lost TK. Hayakakwa akusatsibali positioning. Hayakakwa kikamo. I'm just adding up numbers. I'm comfortable dropping. So I dropped to go, and now hunali stampede.
Yeah, leva buy
now hunali the remarks simuli di tlapa. I try push up and try and comply. No, I vumilento. I have time bank keeper. I knew that opportunity is gone. It never made sense. But we went raised in an environment where you could ask questions. European players ask questions. They know exactly their worth and value, and coaches respect players just as much as players respect coaches. I couldn't ask, but that hurt me so bad, and I knew I don't know what was the intention. It just didn't make sense. Okay, fine. We had some small incidents. Fast forward. It was my last game at Ajax that I played, which created these problems. I mean, after my first contract, I negotiated my second contract. I gave it to the agent. I know what I want. The door to the chairman's office is open. I can represent my interest. I'm confident enough. So that's when I stopped. When my contract expired, I expressed that I don't want to renew. So always this confident guy. I sat with John committees. Fair opportunity that would be given. We would reason about the issues of my contract. He would tell me, yeah, you are crazy. We don't have this much. The team did not have much resources, but you got to push. And I was happy with what I was earning at the time. So, I think sometimes coaches will have a fit. They leading to maybe it's a so and whatnot. All the way, I didn't have an agent. From the age of 21 all the way, Zankabal agent, I negotiated every contract except here Amazon, which we'll get to. So, I came from an injury. I think 2 months here ankle. My contract was up for renewal at the end of the season. We started engaging Lichon. Machine, he had expressed an interest to keep me at that point. Cole Alexander started playing. Because he did exceptionally well. Now, as a senior in what I was earning at the time, it was not a lot of money per se, but for the time and for Ajax, I was happy I could do a lot of things with that money. I'm the first player to buy a house.
Go Ajax?
Yes. With what I was earning from Ajax. I made proper decisions. I did a lot of other things which are related to life and how I view it, in that particular way. So I think what Cole did then made Mushin realize, no, this boy actually can fill in this role. And now also management, you look at the decisions, okay, if this one, what am I? Or Renkamofa Cheltai, Remunyulusanyan, at least we are saving, and he is capable, he'll grow in that position. That's what football is about. You come, you move, others grow. Walema allow total opportunity, you have to sit on the bench and support. Chances come, it's a game that evolves and there's a lot of movement around. So you can't fault in Totsejuan. So I came back after Nakwanyana, and at that time, management was no longer the committee's brothers. They were out because they were both room fights between them because they were shareholders with the Estatios, who is now, the owner of Cape Town Space. Yes. So they pulled out, then they started to take over. I had a very good relationship with John and George because George was also a CEO, and at some point I negotiated things for myself, to a point where I even represented Lizom Jembu when he was about to sign a contract. Go Ajax, because I brought him there. I would speak and the boss knew exactly that it was me. And they were open to those things. I became the deputy secretary general of the union whilst I was a player at Ajax. And they encouraged that. And I would fly and attend meetings and fly back. They were fine with that. There were no threats because they understood that we need to grow as footballers. There's life after football. We need to understand our rights. They were not opposed to anything. It's never been a day where I got my salary late. Never been a day where I got my signing on fee late in the 11 years that I played for Ajax. So there was nothing to complain about. So the new management team, we know them as boss because Banalusha, and we know that they are directors. Now they are taking over. They don't have that personal relationship and interaction with most of us who are there. And okay, that's how things happen. Injury kabo yabantu. 2 weeks I was fit. After being out for 2 months, I would push my body. That's what I was known for, disciplined and running and moving. And then after 2 weeks I was in the team, 18. In the 18, Bankenya ka maybe 30 minutes to build match fitness.
Yeah.
Then the following week we were playing Swallows. I was also shocked I'm in the starting lineup. I still have that game, which I recorded on my PVR. I don't know what I did wrong, and there was nothing. So I can't have time in changing room. I'm a senior. I think senior players need to be treated differently.
Yeah.
Because these are guys who can organize the changing room for you, and sometimes as a coach they can assist you manage the team and help other youngsters to grow and understand, oh, this is the line of march, and as long as they're not selling out. TK. Give time changing room. I start shouting, he's kicking chairs. You know how he was.
Yeah.
When are we discussing tactics? You never play for me again if you played our attack. Everyone. Nothing was said to me. So I told you, I have time to skip. Kinsa short. Blome. You know? Then get up because I cooled down. So I'm kishebile fatsika stretcher in 1 minute, and then it says, okay guys, I'm going to make a change. All right, in 1 minute Sheba. It's like I'm going to take Shabba out. So kihi, now I'm going to take Shabba out. Like, because he's na screaming everyone nazang. This was my reaction. That was my scene in football. No challenge, nothing. Because okay, then and he's looking at me at the time, and then he asked me, do you have a problem? I did not say a word. This is what I said, and I didn't have a problem. I was shocked, but I'm not challenging the decision. And it could have been because I was being protected from getting an injury because I'm needed for another game. It's building match fitness.
Yeah, and you just came back from injury.
But TK, okay, we have injury. Last game was 30 minutes. Namhlanje 45, which was good. And feel ukuthi 6 save so ungalimali, so baba this game songs of substitute. That's all that it takes. Are we too proud to even engage with our own players who are very important in the team?
No.
For clarity and understanding. I'm not saying we are old explanations, but come on, surely we can do some things differently. You know, and it didn't happen. So from there onwards, the insults they started. I mean, you are useless.
Now so real.
I'm substituted. He asked if I have a problem. This is me. And the guy just, they see Pula and a stormly tornado on top of me.
Samasha.
Team talking about how useless I am, about how stupid I am, how nobody wanted me in this team when he came, but he kept me. And today I've got a nerve to question his authority. And which authority did I question? Now, Kidutsimo, I'm thinking, do I respond? Do I ask for clarity? What is happening here? There are other players. I'm a senior. This man, one row, Hamebra. Could I get it happen serious? If there was a reward for Rohamud, not once at Holepona, for the Tapas and the Cray. He was moving up and down, kicking things, and this guy is just attacking. All right, keep long. So I'm asking myself a lot of questions. I don't know, but coach is disrespecting me. Coach is insulting my humanity. You know, if I don't question this, I think there's a problem with me. Okay, sharp. I decide not to. Kinga toiletry pack yak. Kilo shower. So I get in because I'm walking fast. Feet level a bomb. There will be a bang. So what? I didn't say a word to you. Didn't disrespect anyone. I'm quiet. Kilo shower. Kilo shower kakwa. It was a bit far. So no kilibeze shower jail. I go back here busy. The guy is just going on. Now I'm like, no, it's enough. Then I asked him, what is the problem here exactly? Can you just clarify more what's a because one roja, you've been insulting me. I've taken it and I'm enough. Maybe explain so that I can apologize if there's anything that I did wrong. But you have no right to treat me like that. I'm a human. I want to play for this team. I love this team. I respect you as a coach. What gives you the right to treat me like an animal or even worse than that? Then it's like, you ask him questions. He's the left, he's questioning me. So I must not question you. When you even go they are very deep. I took my shower gel. I started losing it. Then I went. And that day, I promise you, I think I would have interacted with the coach on a physical level. Then the players intervened and they stopped. And my hand was just about to grab the coach. I don't know why. I had lost it because
yeah.
So, all right, Gubi, there's nothing in Zagayo. Namisela shisela mikanda, senkahlela mabhodlela, power aid, colors, ebonding at big bend, rainbow nation. I'm kicking things, I'm breaking what because now I've had enough, TK.
Yeah, you need to take out this
moment makes me emotional even today. I've had enough. Enough to a point where no man, I've had enough, TK. I can't explain it in words. So, Kibatlova no Gilotlapa. Kiatama, Gilotlapa, TK. Get in Kashapa. Now I'm sitting 2 minds. Do I go back to the bench or do I just go home? No, professionalism. Even under the circumstances, the man stripped me naked, took away all the dignity that I have. I go and I sit on the bench. The minute Kidula no veteke warhlaba.
How do you bench in solo? No veto Shabba goal.
Yeah, we two.
He left time 1-0.
Yes. And he likes turning up Willie bench. You know, you see, what are you doing? I told him not to go. What is wrong with you? He's got those things, you know. Yeah. Chica, bonus vatleusa. I was like, what is this thing doing here? I'm a thing. What is this thing doing here? I am sitting. It's like, I don't want you on my bench. Move away. I don't want to see your face. You know, like F off. It's like, no, I'm not going. I told myself, he must drag me from here. Because I'm protecting my image and the club as well, the element of disreputing to the media. Because our bench was directly behind us, Nodula the journalist.
Which stadium was it?
Cape Town Stadium.
Cape Town Stadium.
Yes, we put journalists. So these tantrums, it's clear. And yes, now the next minute if I get up and I go to the changing room, there's a story there. Now they dig and it might create bigger problems. You know, I need time to reflect and think exactly about what has happened. But I knew for this moment, they would rather be say Uber into Semo benching in a lady bounce. I'm going to stay.
Yeah.
I said, he went, he sent Albert. Albert came. Albert Hendricks, the kid manager, the old man. Oh, he loves his job.
Yeah.
Beautiful guy. We never needed anything with that man. Everything was spot on. I think all compliments must go to him. We were as organized as we were because of Albert Hendricks all the years.
Yeah, I know that old man. He worked for years.
Dedicated individual. Narobala spanning. The man worked. A truly inspiring individual. Without earning much, but he was passionate. So he comes and I respect the old man. I used to call him old man, Mr. Old Man. Mr. Old Man, this is not the moment. I will move. Please just give me a bit of space. I will go. Because I wanted the game to continue and people to focus on the game.
Yeah.
Then 10
minutes.
Silently. 10 minutes or so. Changing room. Then I said, now there's another question that I need to ask myself. Do I sit and wait for the team or itle? Who screen? So what after game?
It's you again.
Yes. And it will be him again. I knew if I stay, I will punch a coach. And you don't want that in your career. And I'm not going to encourage any player to get to that level. Your career will be gone. But you must know what is right and wrong. Just as much as your mentor or the coach must understand how you must be addressed. We can't be accepting any level of bullshit just because we are players and they are coaches, and now we must be, you know, our rights must be molested, you know, in that sense, and we must be kicked in the streets naked, you know, and exposed, and our dignity stripped off. It can't be. It can't. You are building a man. You want to guide. It's football related. Deal with that. Fight the fight that you need to fight, but be reasonable how you address this man. This is a father to the kids, a family man. This is a person who's respected in his community, respected by some youngsters in his changing room. So when you address me like that, what are you making of me? Clearly your intention is to destroy me.
Yeah.
When I said nothing,
Can be.
I can't reason with that. Even today I don't understand. Okay, I said, I'm like, no, kiatsamai.
You left.
I went home. Car home. At night I'm trying to reflect. What did I do wrong? And then a tendency, I won't mention names, go teaming. You can ask your Kigen Tolis. The younger ones, your Mubaras, your Travis Krem, who was saying, we had a very big potential, but things and politics happened in football, he didn't reach his true potential. What a star he was. Team IG, senior players were always pointing out to these youngsters. I protected those boys with my life because it was a scapegoat. I won't mention names because I have friends in football, but they know themselves and it was wrong, and I told them in their faces. But I don't want the public to understand them in that manner. It was very disturbing. So I held the team together. I was the glue. It was known, you know. So, okay, fine. Renali Captain, Kiko High. If there's been an incident like this, a captain is the first one who must intervene, check how you're doing, tell you honestly what was wrong, what you could do better, how we will try to talk to the coach, maybe check with Zahala. Because you're an important member of the team. This is the captain of the ship. Yeah. You're an important member. There's been a conflict. You know, my immediate wish or intended outcome is to resolve that. Still, in that time in my career, very late, no disciplinary hearing, nothing. The only disciplinary hearing I had as IXS was when I left. Long story short, I'm driving. No call from the captain, no call
from coach.
Because I was one of the captains as well anyway. Okay, I spoke to Tyson Tlachwayo, still young at the time. They all came under me. Lebu, yeah, we know Rabu. And I'm like, no, but I can't. I think I've had enough. I give a Sekwanel. I think I'm better off in the streets than putting a hole in mali. Cannot be. I'm not even proud like Pancha Pini Chelter thing. It's because the fool is withdrawing, man. This useless person is withdrawing, man. And all other insults. That's me. It's not money you enjoy. You can rather give them and stay at home. I'm depressed, I'm broken, I'm torn, I'm finished. Support structure, yes, kids were. It's not enough. Psychology in football, these things that we deal with sometimes can drive you to the wall and back. Lucky I didn't have a drinking problem. Yeah. I always maintained my discipline when it came to that. Yes, I would have fun here and there, reasonably so. But yes, Max Wafitla was saying, Max Grunewald was our manager from Germany. Yeah. He comes, again now saying, what
Go Jimmy, no.
Go Ikamva.
Yeah.
Max, can you just get that clarity from the coach? Because I go changing room and I would rather not go in, or if coach wants to see me privately or anything, direction, kimo. Next Next comes back and he says to me, no, the coach does not want you in the changing room, Shabba, with a very sad face. Okay, sharp. So what happens? No, he said you must wait for him in his office. He wants to talk to you. All right, sure. Kiaploma thereby kamvara holongnyana kiam. Washla saying, Asha. Kidet look wafita. Okay, I know there's problems here, fella. So that look doesn't scare me. No. This is the look. Then he walks past. Sharp. I'm ready for what you are bringing. If you don't have any intention of resolving and also acknowledge your faults as an elder, or humble yourself and apologize, or find ways to manipulate me. But this was wrong. Kimoplo, man. I at the office singer again. Mukay was the assistant coach at the time. So we get in and we sit. And the next thing is, first thing, hey, you. I don't want to work with you anymore. Okay. I'm quiet because I need him to give me more. And then he says, you cannot disrespect me in my changing room and all of that. He starts to shout. Then I gave him back my thoughts exactly. But if you ever do that to any other player, it might not end the way ours ended. There'll be problems. These are human beings that you are dealing with. I'm a human being. It's a part that we understand. Inhlonipho goes both ways. And then Shilo, you don't own the monopoly of emotions. I interact with the game. I play bad. I'm frustrated, highly emotional. All those things. I'm in the park, feeling the heat. You are on the bench. But you are allowed to go 50 times crazier than us. Who's feeling the pain here? Kirona, but it's what we love. But guy bad. The insults start. You know when you are told that you are a donkey, and to an extent that some insults are at the level of you are very useless, you stupid human being. Your mother didn't born you, she shit you out.
Sure. That's too much. That's heavy.
TK, I just needed the strength to leave the table and grab that guy and take him to hospital. That was the end. I was screaming, but I managed how I felt. I was crying, deeply hurt. Mukay intervened. He took me out. He stopped the whole thing. And that was it. And I knew this is definitely the end. I went to the changing room. It was so hard after so many years of service in the team, 11 years, with distinction, with pride, commitment. I took my things from the locker, packed everything. I must go to the office and collect my clearance.
Immediately?
Yeah, I'm a shit player. Go collect your clearance. I don't want to see you here. I said to him, it doesn't work like that. I have a contract with the team. So this process, it must go in line with the legal prescripts. Due procedure must be followed. So it's okay that you don't want me. I don't want to work with you anymore as well. And I hope we don't cross paths. I went, took my things, went upstairs, got to Ari, told him. He already knew anyway. He said, no, it's fine. If the coach doesn't want you, you know, it's different. I said, no, I understand. So yeah, we'll inform you of the day of the hearing that we must have to see how we part ways and whatnot. I said, okay, fine. I went home. I sat for a week or two. That's when I died a second death. First time there's uncertainty in my career. I'm at a stage where I'm older. I just come from a few 2-3 seasons of bad injuries where I was out with the yeka, coming back now and all of that. And this is what happens. So I know I span TK. Yeah, what's next? Should I? But I'm not going to apologize for this. You are looking at the responsibilities and things that you have, you know, and people at home who are backing you, the young ones who are motivated by you being there, everybody that you are letting down. But I would rather let them down
than go through this hell,
than eat shit to feed my family. Can't happen.
Yeah.
DC Atla. No, I had an off the record talk with Ari. And in that meeting, it was clear that they've taken the side of the coach. No matter how I appeal to his conscience about every record and good conduct and the loyal servant, you can name it all. He chose the coach over me, and I asked him, is this how it ends? The first incident of my career, which is not my doing, by the way, but I had to respond to what was happening. I would expect you to protect me. But clearly, football is not about us, it's about coaches sometimes. This is the powers that you've given him, and I understand you can't lose him because he's your messiah. Angeri came and saved us at the point when we were being relegated with 4 or 5 games to go. Yeah. And I was captain for all those games in other seasons because I'm leaving this team, and he would go at some point, and at some point happy. He had those things. Bipolar. So it was very clear. I said, okay, no, DC, because anyway, it's off the record. DC, I can't believe even today that Ajax wanted me to leave without a cent for defending myself.
So when they take you to DC their cases, you must go, no compensation, for call.
Yeah, that's how the meeting was supposed to go. But I was the Deputy General Secretary of the Union.
Yeah.
I understood my rights to the core. So Tulaganyo was still the General Secretary. He came through, he represented me in that case. And I was happy with what I got. Yeah, I was happy. And it was better because I was left with about, in October.
Yeah,
so November, December, I didn't play, I think. Yes, then January, that's when I joined Amazon. So out of the 8 months, I think I managed to get about 4 or 5 months settlement. When they wanted to give me nothing in how they were proceeding, I could not believe. It's like I sat with people that I didn't know all my life. Mushin didn't even come to those meetings to give his own testimony. He would not share a room with me. I'm a filthy human being. I'm useless. You know, I'm not talented. He has done me a favor. Everybody didn't want me. He kept me there. He's a God of my life. So he cannot come and subject himself to a person that he has given life. That is me. So I said, better. Things worked that way.
Yeah.
And that is how I left Ajax.
But by then the biggest pain is how you served this team, how many years you served this team. But the management that you guys grew under has left by then.
Yeah.
Is these new guys who there's no tight relationship with players?
Yes. So I did a lot of things. TK, there's never been a scandal for Ajax. Sadi players, Majwaling or any other thing. We had fun. No, we had fun. We worked hard to create room to play hard. John, George understood that, they allowed that. If we had a weekend off, it was on us. As long as Monday, when we report for training, we are in a condition to perform our duties. We were monitoring ourselves. We dealt with each other. Olo, Tyson, we were united. But if Ajax and the Ritz were really 14, how to requibban? We'd go and really enjoy.
Little team.
If not team, sometimes it is 6, 7. There was that unity. After the team almost broke down because of racial tensions. At some point there was Ajax colors and Ajax blacks. White needed to decide where they fall into that. We had Andre Pettim, a very honest individual, who was a white boy at the time.
The goalkeeper.
Yes, the goalkeeper. And Sean Roberts, beautiful gentleman as well. So it was fine. But what we had to resolve, it was going to collapse the team. Because Jimmy, Makalati naraha Mataki araha Makalati.
What created it? Where did it start? How did it start?
I think it's what we learned from the elders. Because even at my time, Anikili Dakili Elinyan, those things were there. But Bomai Mani handled it better. And they managed to bring things back. Now others would have learned. There's no child who's born a racist. You get taught these things. As you move, as you grow, you relate, you look at the elders and what they do. Then it becomes normal behavior. And it becomes a territorial issue. What about Baba Jobek? They cannot come and take our jobs here and dominate if we are that talented. Now they retaliate because they're fighting for territory. The stupidest thing that can happen in football. You negotiate your contract with the club. You earn your salary. I negotiate mine. This team pays my salary. So where is the conflict in there? You got what you have to get, I get what I get. Now, let's make this team work. Let's win games for this team. Let's win trophies so that we create a legacy. And we make the best moments out of football. That becomes our reality. Real well because our whole like a whole. It's not like our Bafitla, but hey, we were all served equally and fairly. I didn't understand where it came from. Because I remember there's an incident. Rosley was our coach. I worked best under Rosley as well at Ajax, including for Pienaar. But now there was a fight that took place. Because Niseli think this tension. It was me and Franklin Cale. Now you can imagine. You know.
When only Franklin Kanaga.
Tyson. No, it happens in football. Sometimes training, it's an emotional thing. No, sometimes it's about TK Ngari let's say 6 games. No, Jimmy Ngari said it's So Mota, Wawarab, and it happens quickly most of the time. I've seen blows happening. There's been a time where Clayton Daniels went flying for Nathan Paul's when it was not expected because of exchanges of weights. It's part of the game, it's emotional. We don't condone that, but it can happen. A better manager would handle it better. I don't think it requires really a dismissal. There are a lot of people who intervened before people went to hospital. So, kin twelling thing, and it's a motivating factor sometimes, and it changes the understanding of one another after this conflict. Sometimes you find the greatest resolve after conflict, but it's not encouraged that there must be conflict. Do everything in the best of your ability not to get to the conflict. But if it's the only way that things will be fixed, it's not planned, or maybe others do prepare for it, then let it be if it fixes. So it went, nearly Valentine's Day. It went. Now I feel like I'm feel. Yeah, you know. And Rosalie stood and watched. Because the attitude was getting out of hand. And he accepted that this must happen to change how things ought to be. The guys intervened. It stopped. We shook hands. We spoke with him after the training. The next day things were fine and better. I mean, I remember there's a time where Serrero would have been attacked and chewed by one of the guys, you know, who was the colored. On the base that he was becoming a star now. And he did not approve of maybe his performance or attitude on the day training. And after a few discussions, he just went for him. And he was a young boy. We had to go and intervene because the colored guys would not stop that because it was the discussions they were having. So it was very clear that there's war here. The changing room is divided. We fought hard to bring unity into the team. So when everybody else started moving in and growing, they found a beautiful culture, you know, that was moving harmoniously. And that translated in how we played on the field because we were willing to die for one another. We were brothers. So what Toli Abafitla, your Travis Grahams, Rivaldo Kutie, even Isantanil Intuan, we would take him with when it's just okay so that he adapts and learns in I brought the guys to my house. We would have PlayStation, we would have a braai, we would watch games, we would be going to near church. We would move from weekend to weekend if we don't have games. That's the unity that we had. It was a united team. You know, so no scandal. And I really no contribute 5 clip. Where I go groove 5 clip each. So every 80, give 5 clip, give 4,000.
Yeah.
That's what we were drinking one night. High fell. Did the joke, the fun? High fell. Ravai. Because we would have had so much fun. We were not on expensive alcohol and no. It was disciplined, Remnate Ravai. All the years. Some point we'll be in the groove with John and George. Sitting with us if they found us there. And we were just normal. You know, those were bosses and they sorry. How Kopanale and Karunka change direction? Like it would have been Likodinikas in Karunka Tola Suba. Because they were just never easy on us. Even Mushin at times. He's a gentleman sometimes, but I don't care about that guy, man. In all honesty. I think he's good, he's fine, but the bad, in my view and in my records, outweighs all the good that he is in terms of how he treated me. And one day we'll meet and we'll have this discussion. Because I tweeted him last year when he wrote something, it just caught my attention. And I told him exactly what I think of him, the bastard that he is.
And you are not hiding it?
No.
You are not apologetic?
No.
Because there is nothing to apologize.
I've lost all the respect for him. So what am I protecting?
So now you left Ajax under those circumstances, head as you are, you stay, and then January, how does your move to Amazulu happens now?
Because I had a great relationship with Craig Rose, Ligo Ajax. Remember we win Telkom?
Yes, with him.
When we beat Pirates, go Tebe. And gaming a white say, Uteko, Owako, asifunu kumbona, asifunu lutho.
Yeah.
It was a better experience than Abu Trika. At least I could compete here and there, but he was a sneaky person as well. Yeah. But I managed him for the better part of the game. But the game is moving and building up. We wanted to play for that coach. He loved his players. He was young. He relied on us as well. So we were united with the coach. We were as one, brothers, but he's our leader. He's the elder. He's our mentor. He's the guider. So we knew the difference, you know, and so it was fine. So Naliko Amazulu. So when the incident happened, I informed John Committees and George. George was an agent at the time. I think he was moving players. He just enjoyed that because they are businessmen, astute businessmen who are, I think, well off, even though they are very modest about it. but I would tell them really nalezaga lo
Yeah.
nalezaga lo
Yeah.
even kathola zaga ya unkawubonza hore zaga yithi wa udutsi mo uno eng ubusy ka apple ties mna ireke mfevela nje 1 week cut ya go wonze difference, you know. So it was that, but we spoke on a professional level.
Yeah.
And he put in a call called Rosley. Rosley did not hesitate. And one thing led to the other. I went to Durban. I trained Amazulu just before the December Christmas break. I was unfit because I had not trained for 2 months or so. So, but he knew what I'm capable of. And once I get to shape and everything, familiarize myself with the guys, I left. Then negotiated my contract, done, signed January. I started Amazulu in the smaller nyana pre-season, but it wasn't that long. So adjusting was difficult because everybody's on that level. So so you are fighting through that. It's the weather. First time I'm leaving Cape Town, I'm in a different province. You know, and you don't have friends, teammates are new, and there's tribalism as well. Territorial war in football.
Again, what do you experience at Ajax and resolved as teammates? Now you're experiencing.
Yeah, Ajax it wasn't for long, but you could see it was going to get deep. Amazulu it was deep, very deep.
How fit are that?
It was very deep. It was very deep. So comrades were not united. La chima mutulo munga moyan labo aliko groundung man. Alari win you know that thing, but haritsebani man. I come from Ajax. I invite my cheater Shabba Rico and TK listening. Rico and Lala PlayStation or Shebile game. Amazulu is not happening, and you move then you are alone. And we are looking for that thing. It's the first time you are seeing this. It's a different environment. Scary a bit. Now you're like, okay, what do I do here? What happens? You check. Oprima Tibe was there. And we didn't get along at first. We were just cordial. Because I had a view of him after a few encounters, which was very wrong. I misinterpreted Aubrey. And to a point where we started to be together. Because Aubrey is a straight talker. Aubrey is honest. Aubrey has given you what he's given you, and it will be fair and honest. So it's fine. Amazulu get Chima. I played Nyana, Kipusha 6 months in Nyana. And then I think the season that started, I had a great preseason and I was building up, but the team wasn't doing well. But I played most of those games there. Happily first 6 months, and Neban Shabba. Neban Shabba. And maybe not so much or Neban Shabba, because ekhaya ubaba normally would say mangibuye ekhaya kumele kulungise into zakho, you know, njengomuntu omnyama ucela inhlanhla uvula indlela wenze. So all I did, it was just about that. I'm not the guy who carried and did, no. It was ntotsa high. So kitswa Ajax ki akada ekada tshwantse be strong yana. So I think everything that was in the air. Anetla monna. Because nagile ke le motho fe TK ko hopola o dlala akufihla spanning useng ke khathetse ha ke tswa ntlo ngimnandi energy ngamba nge GTI that time ngiphethe sinye speakers ingake muva ngises enjoy, you know, music kimnati. Man mangifika the minute ngifika nje change room ngishintsha siya for breakfast angathi khona imfene bengilindi vele ihlale la ayisekunzima yonke into man. So man, but and these things, when they happen, you blame. I looked at the weather, change up. I did not understand, and I rest proper at night. But in the days, I never had energy. So until I consulted with a few guys, or I'm never getting into a somo. I want to so only 3-4 months. I get into a so. But today, babu no moon, young na moon. But I go to la winje. Uze uwe. That's, you know, the Zulu. You figure uwe unje umuntu. I like her. Melbourne umuntu la. Kwenzeka akuhlaliswa nje but no nami nganginawo lento abanye they would, you just need to go and make sure umna to protected. So I was considering that because I'm away from home ngimthola ka imoto tsepile we are high or okay at least, you know. Angalimala TK ngikhumbula kudlala iArrows naMazulu. Hey ngihlele ebenchini TK ebenchini nyalala ngipress ki robetse enough ke mbonke mnati ki wiki akegone anything. So mama I'm like I should dibeni izinto ezinzima la zangibulala ene ke mintse hore ba sankenya because more akitsebile ro etsalang maybe ke tlo etsa diphoso tse bye. I think that's when I took it serious because then the impact of what was happening, I was like, okay, as in, sis, awuphume ubone into zakho la ukwazi ukuthi ucheck ufune indawo ulungise kuze ubuye udlala. Yeah, so it was that, and we came back and played, and there was no unity to a certain extent. Beautiful team, very professional, proper. Didn't expect that. It was actually a well-structured team.
Also, the clubhouse, most players rate it high. They've got a proper. Were you stay at the clubhouse or you had your own place?
I will never do that.
You'll never stay at the clubhouse.
No. For you.
They say they save money when they stay there.
I would rather not save money. I'm 28. When am I going to be responsible and start building for my life? Kilo promat clubhouse in a room. No, it didn't work for me. I wanted to take charge and take responsibility of my life. I'm not saying those who stayed there it was wrong, but I have a different view in my life and how it has to be, which is why 2009, 2010, at IX, I took a bold decision. I bought a house, which was, yeah, 50 million, and at that time, it was very bold, a decision, but I knew this is long-term, an investment. And what helped Liko thing before we, you know, TK, which I've learned Liko Amazul as footballers. I think there's nothing good that will come from us as footballers if we stick together on and off the field and we don't get to know and welcome other people into our lives. Because TK, ki autiaka, unganyo machiri, Shabba, unganyo groove, Temba, unganyo diaparo, or unganyo di restu, everything. So when we sit, our discussions are moving around all these things. This is our mind. We are united, and it's either this, and this, and this, and that. We are not open-minded. I can tell you, Ghana, what made me change. Nekibon akizwan from hip hop or house, kia spanning. At my radio, I don't know what's happening. You know, current affairs, nothing. The world is out. I'm focusing on football. After Kitswa, it's the same thing. You are back home. Home, ki PlayStation, ki the movies were robalali. You don't know anything about your country. You don't know anything about the current. You are not giving yourself a chance to learn about life. You don't have friends outside football. Why not? So I started hanging around Lebat. And the life-changing moment for now, there's a boy that's called Petal that I found in Cape Town when I moved. Which, by the way, the historical what's up because it relates to Cape Town and also yes, what I've realized about us as footballers, but the biggest influence came in Cape Town. Mabuto stayed Lima Rodmane who never smart. So ploma level. So now Aki Shapets Mabuto around the Gilikapa in the early days. The discussions that they have no Mabuto. I don't relate because I'm all things football. Mang figure Sunday in the people cool. City Press or game.
Yeah.
City Press, the big newspaper.
Yeah, Sunday. I see Sunday World.
No, Sunday World.
Yeah, City Press.
Yes, I think you. Mabuto, how whole page again. Urutsiga, this thing is seriously reading a newspaper. And when they sit and interact, reprana, ili fun and everything, I can connect. I was bothered. So I went home and I'm like, no, but how am I going to really interact with other people except the ones that I know? What am I missing? I started having an interest, started reading newspapers, watching news, and everything slowly started to evolve. My mindset changed. I had a friend of a lawyer, free advice. I had a friend who's a banker. You get free advice. You have a talk, go everywhere. At least get a different mindset. Sit with your critics as well, but caution them on how they criticize you. Let it be within respect and within reason, but they must tell you what they don't approve of you. And engage it and take it well and think about it and check if this is what you need to take and maybe this you don't have to take. You will learn and grow. You get to learn to accept that in life there is dialogue, there's difference of opinion. That's what brings growth. Debate or deliberations shapes your mind because this person is trying to infiltrate your space with what they think. If you let it in, it then triggers certain things within you that you need to start challenging yourself within the context of what is being produced. That is growth. We can't talk about the same things as the five of us every day. That requires you to grow and look at life from a different lens. This is why mostly the decisions we take are not taking us forward. Because if unaleva to baba different, you get different things from these people you pick up, and there are things that you might like, which you might take and grow. That's what you want. You can't go staying in the same place.
Yeah.
Cannot happen. So I then realized Limor, it's the same issue that I had moved away from Likoteng, or footballers, we are the same. That's what we do. Now you try and bring unity. It was very difficult.
At Amazulu, even you say, guys, let's unite and be teammates, it's not happening.
It's debatable. Was it genuine? Sometimes I don't think so. And things were clear. Upul at that time, I'm in the leadership of the union. So I know the dangers of this disunity or the dichotomy, as I understand it, that I'm finding here, which I almost experienced at Ajax, but it came better. Here there's a potential to divide us and collapse us and relegate us if we don't really see. We don't have to fight each other, we're playing for the same brand. We win, who korile wena? Bonus 5,000 kimatola bonus. Same thing, which was the same for Ajax. It was that which we had to demonstrate, because we also had a beautiful bonus structure that I was in the committee for, which we fought for, engaging reasonably. Libo Nathan Paul said the senior players, Baba, because we were winning 4K a game, the next one is 7, and wiki 9, and wiki 11. So that's where it is. So if you draw at home, you move from 11, you start from 4K again. If you draw away, get 2K, but you come back and you start from that. It can say, let us just work together, we empower each other, we enrich each other. That's all that we have to do. We're not tola 19, not tola 20. It's a contract I've negotiated. I must live with that. So when I leave this disunity there, I never really get to understand. I tried, I attempted. It was not easy. Carlington was captain, especially at the time. Yes. Carlington would say we wear blue t-shirts. And other guys would say, no, I'm like, no, but that's not how it works. And we would arrive in camp, others are in blue and others are in black. Like, no, it can't be.
And you're the same team?
I was not even 2 weeks into the team. I had to intervene radically, because I don't care about being favored. The truth is the truth, and we must live the truth. So it took a bit of time to fix that. It got a bit better. But I think when we actually realized, it was a little bit too late, because I think as much as we were fighting opponents, the fights we had internally amongst each other are the ones that relegated us more than the game of football. So we are self-defeating as human beings, as footballers, as heroes to our communities, as employees of the club, and as people who want to achieve greatness in football. That's not how you grow about it. But I had a great experience.
Then eventually that contract ends?
Didn't end.
Yeah.
I was retrenched.
When they get relegated?
Yeah, I'm not possible, I think. Deputy General Secretary was SAFPU.
Relegated, retrenched.
Retrenched.
Section, by that time, the rights are
Section 198, operational requirements.
Yeah.
And the case is still also ongoing, so I don't want to get too much into that. The matter is still sub judice.
Yeah.
It's things we learn and they say that, but yes, I felt the process was not, proper and fair, according to how things would have been, as I understand them better being from the other side. So I ought to challenge that. Let's see where it takes us. So that's where it is. Cases with SAFA. If 5 years I saw the case here thing, because legal system is SAFA, I don't know what's all. SAFA is also another problem. It contributes to the disaster of football in the country, in how they manage their things. And we know every organization has challenges. You could have tax issues here, you could have financial issues. There are things that you must move and maneuver. But at some point, you need to rise above all of this, even if you have not conquered everything. But we must see progress somewhere, somehow. So now the case is million, because if the PSL, the NDRC rejects, or they don't grant you an award, we go Safanga. Because they have no legal team. From what I gather, they owe these legal people that must work there. Kidi senior counsellors or Kiboma, they owe those people money.
Then they can't work and they can't appoint others until Bapatela.
The case I did rule, because these people don't want to work, they owed money from years and years and years and years. So who will go there and do the work? So if there's a matter, and nothing really happens, what do you do? Kid, it's 5 years now. So,
but why will SAFA not pay? But when SAFA analyze, or they are just not channeling their budgets proper.
What is channeling your budget proper? If not, if
I will, the reason I'm asking is, if Bafana never miss a game because of finance, I'll assume there is money. Maybe the budget is for Bafana, but it's not for legal or admin issues. That's what I'm saying to say. I'm failing to understand. I can't say they have money issues, but I'm asking you to say, based on your experience, is it the money is there, is channeling it to the right, balancing it proper, or the money is just not there?
It's a question that we would need to get an understanding from Coach Jordan. But there's no meeting that sits. We're a stakeholder. See now,
you haven't met Danny now?
No.
Just to ask.
Recently, no, he agrees and then he shifts the goalpost. We cannot be stakeholders that engage on WhatsApp, on policy and principled matters. He's got the responsibility to account to the structure, which is the union that protects the interests of the players. Now we must ask questions and you must respond. And only then we would find the clarity. And does it happen? No, it doesn't.
Yeah, because your president was here, he said the news going to have a meeting with you guys, and once the meeting has took place, he will come and report to the people. But now when I ask you, the meeting hasn't set even today.
No, it hasn't.
When is the next meeting scheduled?
For the There's nothing wrong, TK, with asking questions. I mean, we had our differences, league, at some point. And through the power of negotiating
and sitting down,
yes, we managed to at least resolve the conflicts that we had, and we seek the accountability necessary. They gave us the satisfaction in terms of how they responded to us. They also gave us a challenge. We responded. We are stakeholders. You know, we don't sleep in the same bed with the league, but we are professional about how things have to happen. There's a CBA signed. The table is now wide open for engagements. We've got the ability to influence decision at policy level. Before it wasn't like that, because National Platform, we're not recognized as an organization. So we would speak in the media, but does it change decisions at policy level? It doesn't. So key hype, saying anyway. And I heard people saying we sold out since we signed the CBA. We have a seat at the table. If there's an issue, we write a letter, they respond. If we don't get clarity around it, we call for a meeting, we sit and discuss it. If we differ, we can go out. It's our right, we're a union. We don't subscribe to clubs or anybody else. We want a good relationship. But our interest is to service and serve the players. So journalists sometimes, they want to hear us scream. It doesn't help. This is life-changing because there are 10 agenda items that sit in the CBA, which the president would have said and explained, including the development of this and that, the minimum wage, all other things that you can talk about, the programs, the retirement fund, as we call it, or the sports tax as we challenge it, and how we can shape that. We have ongoing meetings with the league. We are making gains. Yes, we'll agree to disagree, but there are things that we'll win and some we might not, but we need to move on and negotiate so that we have a better understanding of one another. Power to convince each other. Now, when others are running away from that, what alternative do you have? You don't have any alternative. It means they disrespect the organization. We are autonomous. We are not begging to be recognized. We have representation. We represent the interests of the members, and these members look upon us. They are our principals. We have a mandate. Sit with us. Why can't we engage, TK? Let's sit and engage. Let's agree to disagree if that's what it is. But at least we know that we would have had a meeting and we have discussed, and maybe that meeting can have a different outcome. Not the cooperation agreement that we've had for so many years, and they feel if we come through having done a favor. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't. So they need to get their act together.
But you will continue to request the meeting, but it seems like this meeting is not happening.
We'll never stop. We'll make it happen. If it means we must kick and push, we can demonstrate that if necessary. But I'm not saying it in the aggressive manner. I'm just saying in terms of persistence, so that these things can be dealt with and they are aligned. Because right now we don't know. I mean, he said, the president, when he was here, we didn't see a manifesto yet. He was re-elected. He's there. It's fine. Keep president yourself. But what is he going to do different than what he has done in all the other years? You know, Ubuagari 2022 thingy. Vision 2022.
Yes.
A lot of things were not done. Now, that's what we needed to check and see what we're like. At least now there's a technical director. Maybe football will take a different direction insofar as development is concerned. You know, it was one of our outcries which we wanted to see them engage because we knew that there's a very serious candidate who has potential to take that position and change football. Experience, the knowledge is done, everything. But it seems they weren't looking at home, they were looking elsewhere. Why? We've got our own. Put them there, let them move and work. So we didn't get those type of things, but we never stopped talking about them. And at no point will we stop talking about things that must be done, which we believe are correct. Now you've got Walter Steenbok. Let's see. Yes, he's been given that chance. He deserves it. So let's see how it moves. Because it also creates problems even at Bafana level. Hugo Bros sometimes speaks, and is very direct in how he speaks. And I think that's what I've picked up with people from Belgium and Holland. They face issues head on, and they are not personal sometimes, they just tell the truth as it is. Sometimes, yes, it can rub people off the wrong way. I think we're a country that is very diplomatic. We don't like the uncomfortable discussions because we want to be praised or we want to sweep things under the carpet. But in some of the statements that he raises, there are very valid points that needs to be paid attention to if we want to grow as a country and take the criticism constructively and self-correct and not look at the little comments that might just be inappropriate as the public court of opinion deals and decides. But there's a lot of truth in what he says from time to time. There are just some minor things maybe that are maybe not appropriate to others, but
when you look deep, there is truth in what he's saying, somewhere.
Yeah, but like Hugo Bros, I lost Shabba came under 17. Harna on a national team under 17. When last did they play? That's what he says. Under 20, when last did they play? Under 23, when last did he play? Now there's Bafana. Now you've got journalists asking him, when are you then going to watch the NFT games? This man is one person. How is he going to go to all these things and pick up on all of that and come back? There were special cases, guy was Pure Shabba, but he was in the national under 23. So if the junior ranks are properly structured, it simply means that you've got national under 17 team with proper players, multi-choice DSQ or PSL, where you can watch and spot talent that moves to the under 20, that moves to under 23 or even to the first team. There's a platform that is there. You can't want the men to be all over. Now we are hiding our weaknesses because we didn't have a technical director which was supposed to be appointed. Because it's the job of the technical director to deal with those things at LFA level, even at region level, and appoint others in that structure. Access those funds from FIFA, which will allow for football to grow and draw programs and seek accountability. Now you are talking development. Because if Hugo watches under 23s, there's potential there, he sees there. Now where is he going to chase all these players? And go all the way to Limpopo and watch a derby. The next thing is in Cape Town watching a derby. Then there are PSL games. Then it's a lot to do. But you need people that will sit in proper structures who can come together and give that finished product, which simplifies the job of the national team to spot talent more. Then the national team can have the proper and correct players that he wants. So sometimes I think we are very unreasonable, you know, as journalists, as much as we appreciate journalists because they get to publicize our views and share our stories and all of that. Nagosering, I think their reporting is very misguided and you can sometimes question their intentions. Lona?
No, that's why we don't write. That's why we call and say, talk for yourself. You understand? We're different there.
Spare a red way. Spare a red way.
No, we don't want to say he said this. No. You hear him saying it. But now, anyway, let's progress. Amazulu retrench, find the issues with, you don't want to go into details. Then after Amazulu, because we are talking a footballer's lives here as he moves through teams, as employment ends. Now after Amazulu, my records tells me without a team. Without a team means without income. How do you survive between Amazulu and before Swallows? And also tell me how you get to Swallows and what was the arrangement?
Yeah, it wasn't easy, Chicken. It's never easy. Which is why we are very passionate even now at union level when we talk about the financial literacy aspect. I mean, being the previously disadvantaged. The challenge that we find, I never sat at home and spoke to my mom and dad about Chelet that they didn't have. So they could not advise me about something they don't have. For all you know, in that house, we would go to bed without having something to eat. We didn't have it easy. So money discussions were far too big for them. They were digging the ground trying to make sure that we eat. When you make it, yes, your parents will say, "Usave mntanam." What is that? How? Where? Who's there to assist? What knowledge do I have in that? There's a gap in terms of that. That is why we sometimes commit to unnecessary things. And it becomes a bit of a problem. And life is not forgiving for us as footballers, TK. Our career is very limited. TK works at 22, TK utola span. TK can decide to you are thanking yourself or rewarding yourself 22, 23, 24 until you are 27, 28. You push and say you do all the things that you want, which at that point are not well informed. But you've got time to recover as you grow. When you get to 29, 30, sometimes you look at your life and you change your priorities. Now you are moving into the right step. You'll retire when you're 60, plenty time. Us, no. The 2, the 3, the 4 years is a lot of damage for you to come back, because you don't have until 60 where you're going to get your pension fund and go and retire elsewhere or enjoy your holiday. Now, if we miss that step and that guidance and the understanding of the importance of money and how we must manage it, how to grow your wealth, how to protect your money, you know, everything that deals with disseminating chelete to anything that will benefit you, it needs education, it needs awareness. And I think I respected Zaka. And maybe it was a blessing that what I earned while I was a footballer, it did not come all at once and it drove me crazy. I had to work. And I planned for the next one. It was a bit better. I had saved. It can never be enough at the end of the day. I went to school and tried to make sure that after football, even then we are disadvantaged. I could be a qualified engineer, but I don't have work-based experience. So even when I retire, I must start and do internship and earn 4 or 5 or 6,000 rands for first year. And if I'm taken and absorbed, my salary starts at 9, you build. When you get to the 30s, 35s, it's after 7 or 8 years. If your life would have been up there when you were high earner, you need to really adjust, because there's a big vacuum. There are a lot of things that you need to let go of, the nice to haves, so that you survive. Then survival becomes very essential. And if you made the right choices, it's possible. You also need a bit of luck in terms of that. So it was tough. I had to dig into the savings. I had the house in Cape Town, which was rented out. I tried, I had to adjust, reconfigure certain things, you know, look at a number of things about that. But I didn't suffer much, but I felt the pain and I was very nervous for the future, as I've always been, to say, if this is my reality, how and what will then happen before something happens for me and it comes my way. Even though I've prepared myself, I have no knowledge of what's on the other side. I have no experience. So it was tough. And my support structure has been very strong, my family as well, you know. And I've had those emotional breakdowns here and there. I questioned my capabilities at times. You find yourself sometimes in moments of confusion. But if you have the right people around you, sometimes it works. At times, even if they are there, you don't see them, you don't hear them. You need yourself to pull yourself out of that situation. And that requires strong self-determination, understanding of who you are, and the drive and the passion to get to the other side and conquer wherever you go. So it's issues that speaks to the mental health, which we need to train our minds. Not everybody is as strong. I'm not saying I'm strong, but I survived that situation. So yes, I had to adjust and just accept my reality that I need to drop down a bit, you know. And it was sad because KwaMazulu, I was earning better than what I was getting at Ajax. Yes. Yeah. And you had an appearance fee. The only team that I think at the time had an appearance fee, KwaMazulu. And maybe sometimes that's what caused a bit of those divisions. Or TK Lanali Injarwa Foster, or I started so that if appearance fee I get 10K, say besides salary, besides bonus, besides salary, it could be, I don't know.
So just to make the team, you already have extra.
Yeah, okay, yes, you have an appearance fee. And now, and maybe if we're having this discussion, secondly 15 or 20 years retire, I'd be comfortable in saying what it was. But now but that's how tough it was. So I moved back. Then because the Because SAFPU, there's always that provision for the position here, the deputy. If you can be full-time or be a full player, a player. And whilst I was a player, I came, remember I told you, I attended meetings. I learned a lot. I paid attention, I had the drive, and I was very passionate because I joined the union in 2005. And at that time, I paid my subscriptions without knowing what Batlon Tusaka, because I was in a well-placed structure, a home, perfect environment, no issues. And the union then was just about fight on the basis of contractual disputes and any other thing. So the experience I acquired and I learned, it made the transition not very difficult, even though I was depressed to a certain extent, starting a job co-officing, no so Kenya shed, no operator, laptop. And I would sometimes I would have a cheetah disk or really 9 laptop. But the only thing we watch Kenya USB mole for the movies. And some of us sometimes we don't even have those email addresses with laptop.
No research, nothing.
It's the education part of it, it's the activation. There's a big vacuum in terms of the life skills, all the things that ought to happen. It also affects you, TK. So I then transitioned into the office. I learned, and I did not even do proper research. Nekidula ko Pretoria North. Office SAFPU ko Bramfontein. Every morning I drove through traffic 3 hours or so ki fitla kwa. And after Spana kitswaka 4, I mean this traffic ya sentino yakwa ha ki fitla. Sa ititsele ke tsenile ko Mabopane highway ki fitla ndonga bo my 8ish to 9 I'm finished. My kids are sleeping, I don't see them. In the morning they wake up, they go to school, they kiss me in my sleep. They are at school. When I come back, they are sleeping. So I would stay with my kids in the house for 2 months and not really see them, because sometimes we would travel because we would go visit provinces and try and resolve issues, and I needed to really adjust and go fast. So it was very painful. It was chowing also financially because I needed fuel in that car because I wanted to learn and get to the other side. I tried as best as I can, even if it means sucking out my savings. But time consuming, it meant my support structure, my place of comfort, those people that give me the happiness and make me forget about things. The life that I'm facing does not give me the healing that I need from them. So I am a stranger of a father. I'm celebrated when I'm seen because I'm a celebrity to my kids because I am never at home. The situation didn't allow. It killed me, TK. I had to hang in there for a year and really deal with it. Now, Swallows had issues. Study non-payments. Nakwela Leon Prince before they collapsed. Koroa was the coach. So it was, we were there to intervene and try and assist and check things. And football is very funny, TK. We get there, Ian is there. Kipumba. I still want to play football. I'm 30. I want to play football. I love the game. That's another thing that depresses you. You train, and you stop because you don't know what you are training for. I only 6-pack with Spanish guy. Uja drumstick. So you lose the motivation and you pick it up again. And I asked to train Likoro after we spoke to Machita and Orenoki Zamubusa Fitness because I still have an interest in playing. Can I come through? And the number one importance for me, which the leadership at the time supported, it was for me to be a footballer because that was key. I will come through when my time is alright to deal with the admin side of things. They welcome that. That also raised a lot of politics from the haters and people whom I regard as opinion pieces, always chasing after us. I don't even listen, I don't care. And I don't want to mention names, but those people failed. When they were playing, they were elites. In their teams, they were too big for the organization. They were not members, they didn't contribute. Now after football, they're talking about fixing the union. What union? Did you build this union that you're saying you want to protect? When life was good, when you were earning good money, when you were the center of attention, and everything happening for you, SAFPU was nothing for you. You didn't even sit and listen and understand what is it that they want to achieve. How can I contribute to this goal? Now, after football, you are the very same person who's got the passion to save the organization. It's not yours. We can have that discussion with the players that invested in the growth of the organization and contributed their resources in subscriptions and participated, who were active members to build the walls of SAFPU. Now, from radio station to radio station, saying the same thing. We can't be chasing you. You are an opinion piece. Keep it there. We got work to do. And we're moving and we're growing. So there were issues that I don't even go to the office. I train at Swallows, I earn a salary at Swallows, and I also earn at the union, but I'm not even working. So there's corruption. And you think those are these one of our own? No, it's not. At Swallows, I trained, they were fighting relegation. It took me a month and a half to shape up because I think I started around Jan. I only caught my fitness in March because I stayed for over close to a year. I had to move rapidly into that. I think there's Mike, a fitness trainer, very big guy, very good. He put me through the paces. I started to get there. Unity was not there. Players were hungry. 3, 4, 5 months, they would not get their salaries. Some have, some not. I know there was Mabalane. Dihang was the captain. It was very difficult on his shoulders having to motivate hungry lions. That's what the players were. They were hungry lions who were waiting to catch Impala Ihlatin Baraiville. And as a leader, you were saying, let's go hunt, let's go hunt. It was very tough on him. And the team was united as much as it was divided by that situation. Because you then have players that start to suspect that maybe all motivator because upatets. Now you get and you pick up these things. I had to also pick up the pieces there like I did kwa Amazulu, like I did kwa X. We were united. We could sit after training as a team, have lunch. In the small money Negi Hall, I was earning 20,000.
Go Swallows.
Go Ajax.
Go
No. Go Unioning.
Yeah.
That was my salary. 20,000 rands I was earning. From where I was to where I would have been. And I was doing work. And they were growing. I'm growing as a leader to fill the role, to understand. Rework a succession plan. But we are suppressing these young ones who probably have potential. I'm not saying I have, but I've got passion. Judge me by the sponsor. Oh, they were going. United Swallows with things will be better.
And Swallows, you're not being paid. Anyway, they can't even pay their...
Next Masala, I said to Tsipokolo, we spoke, and I said to him, I want to just come back into football. What I want, and which is what we discuss leadership as well, to say, you know, the advantage could be that, because you still love the game, Fana, you are hating, we can see, is to contribute here. If you can assist and save this team, next season, definitely we are considered. You are loved by everybody. We've seen, because it's clear. And this team will keep you, because you are a great guy. You keep everybody. I joke a lot, TK, but when it's time to work, I'm not the same person.
You put on a shift.
Today I told you I'm not coming when I was at the gate. That's just me and the nature. I've got a very playful side, but I know when to switch and focus on things that I ought to. So we were united. It was tough. I played with Swallows. So what I was given by Swallows, honestly, so in the discussions, shelter, petrol, that's what we can afford. Ian started with me. Koro said, Shabba, you know the team is struggling, huh? You know, Shabba, we don't have money here, Shabba. But I think I need you getting fit, Shabba. You can help. Can you do that, Shabba? Do it for me. I was like, Coach, I want to play football. I'll do it for you. I'll do it for me. It's like, we can give you petrol, Shabba. I was like, it's okay. I got petrol money. And the Kidula guy. Pretoria. So that's what I had. And only for 2 months. Yes, 2 months. Before I quit Swallows. So I would go to training, immediately shower, put on my working clothes, wear my SAFPU hat, head to the office, fatigued, I've ran, Bipolar, they're fighting with my weight, sit in the office, head to focus, learn, read things, adjust, sit and listen to comrades and learn as much as I can. That was me. I left the office at 9, at 10, and even at 11. The next day I had training. I had to leave around Boma 6. I was picking up a player, Ace, Nadula, not far from there, Ritla Chini. That's what I did. And when people start to hit you on the other side and say, nobody understands your struggle, and I don't expect everyone to show me sympathy, but I know where I'm going and I'm going to get there. So it was fine. I was comfortable. In fact, it gave me strength to push even more and be more hungry. I went. Did I not conquer?
You did survive.
But I have not conquered. The greatest of me will still come, whether I'm here at SAFPU or elsewhere. That's one thing that I can guarantee you. We take things head on. We have changed this organization. It was only about fight. Look at the programs we have. Bazari Fund, no sponsor, nothing. At the time when even players are not paying subscription because teams were not deducting the subs to SAFPU, even when we had members. It was at that time when we were not allowed to go in and see players and engage them, educate them, empower them, and give them the wisdom necessary for them to be better people, better heroes, better role models tomorrow. Gates were closed. We kicked and pushed, we fought. We started the bursary fund when things were not suitable. We said we'll push. We had advanced driving courses. We said we'll push. Financial literacy sessions. We said we'll push. There's many other things that we have done. We are innovative, we have moved with the current times. In the programs that we do, there is more offering, but it's limited. Because if you pay subscription, you are a member of the structure that you serve, which is a union. If you don't pay subscription, in labor terms, it means you are aspiring to be a member. So that situation sets us up for failure. You are their lead, but there are no resources. Where do you get that? We had to scrape, move, and do all the things. In the meantime, former players who are seniors, they are busy with their agenda. Because SAFPU is these low-lying fruits. People work, they build, it gets there, people are not there. Now it's time, they want to oust people because it's low-lying fruits. They must keep trying, they must keep coming. We are doing work. Our members are happy and this SAFPU will grow. Not without challenges, we still have some. But we have conquered, and we will still do, because we are very united, we are determined, and we are passionate about what we do. So it's the same thing, TK. So I had to overcome all those things, and that's where things would have been, and from there I retired. And why I didn't get a team is because every team that I engaged, if Coach Yang report comes, they go, chairman, I comfortable, now call leadership union. And I'm like, but coach, Nikiliko I exactly that, call them and check. I've never caused problems. Nikiliko Amazul, Lunga Sokela still as the one leading things, yes, Libo Peter Ocon. They welcomed that as well. They were not intimidated. I was not disruptive. I understood what to do, when and how. Hakitli Moleka, no. Kiaspan. And now, you try and reason, it doesn't work. Kamo, chairman emara coach to fill out divide. So I'm getting the same stories. I was like, you know what? It's not gonna work. Because others say no, maybe Hankats wada. Itlabam not. But no holy da. So now I had to choose whether I'm quitting SAFPU. So that I can play for the last 2, 3, 4 years of my life football. Or I don't get a team. It was not very difficult for me to make that decision. I didn't win many things in football. I was not the greatest player, but I had fun. I enjoyed, and I served my purpose. I have a few accolades, and there's not much for me to achieve when I'm 31. You know, and I don't have the passion and the hunger anymore. Something else captured me. There's a burning fire inside of me. I took that without hesitation, even though I knew that I'm going to struggle. We built. I'm full-time into that.
So at 31, that's when you retired?
I stopped. Didn't even announce I stopped. I just worked on my goal.
Yeah. But so sometimes in South Africa, you can be forced into retirement, not unaware or earlier. Because I think one day we perception, by default, the career could be.
There are many perceptions that are out there and you can't control them. But I think we have control of how you deal and behave. And because you need to build the credibility as an individual, as a player, as a societal member. It's all about those things. And the unfortunate part, as I said, some mistakes that we make, we don't have enough chance to recover back. Because once they know that this is the one who did this, nobody wants you, it becomes a bit of a problem. So it's not something that we can control. We are young when we start playing professional football. We'll make mistakes like anybody in the general society. We are judged harshly, because our life is in the spotlight. Well, the game we love puts us there, so we are bound to be dealt with and be fall into the public scrutiny and deal with a lot of naysayers and haters, and some people who think they are honest, or maybe some are. It comes with the game, but how you deal with things. That's why it's very important to be professional and not waste time, because our careers are short. Your first contract is probably the last one. What do you plan for the 2 or 3 years or any other thing that comes with that? It's very key, and it's decisions that we must take, but not on our own. We need mentorship. We need clubs to really be open to the idea of SAFPU, because we're empowering these very same comrades. Football today, in our view, is in tatters, especially when we take it to SAFA level. You know what pains me mostly is that this is our sector. I'm not saying that other people are not contributing or working, but when you look at SAFA, none of the former players or not much of them, if 2 or 3. And the roles they have, I don't know if they are roles worthy, you know, to be occupied by some of them, if they have potential. If they have potential, and I'll tell you why I'm saying that. And then you move to issue the NEC SAF. The biggest in the world, in my view, 42 people. Yet football is not where it ought to be. And I respect all the club owners at LFA levels, at regional levels, because the statutes and how things are run, those people must be the ones that come, because they focus on development in their regions or LFAs or wherever. They contribute their own resources. There's not a lot of money. What they are given is what? It's nothing. It's a drop in the ocean. They must travel. They must do that. They sacrifice. But by virtue of that, they then qualify to form part of the structures of SAFA. Whether one has passion or not, sometimes it's something you think you do. You know, you think I've got passion along the way, and you are there. And only to get to the other side is not something that you are really interested in. But you love football. But administration part of things, the policy level, those, you know, thorny issues, the challenging, taking up the fight with the necessary, who implement a change in and challenge the status quo. It's probably not one of their strongest forte. But because the statutes, sometimes there's a problem. Now, where are we as footballers? Where are we moving? When are we challenging to take ownership of our space? We're not chasing people out. We love the game, we played, we understand the struggle, the suffering, the discrimination, the violence, the abuse from the sick ones, the limited sick ones who are supposed to be our heads and give us direction. But who wants to take administration? Who has a dream of being a president of SAFA?
We don't know. We only know when it's election time that this one can lead, this one can lead, but does the structure allows them to lead? We don't know, because it seems like it's locked, that you cannot come, say you're a former player, you understand the game, come contest to be, you don't even get a chance to contest.
Things will change, TK. And this is what I've always said. The problem with us, we focus on things that are not going to progress us and take us to the promised land. People have played their role. The Danny Jordans, they've played their role. Whether we agree with it or not, it's fine. Dr. Ivan, Dr. Kaiser, everybody that has contributed to the PSL to being what it is, they've played their role. And I'm not cursing them, but I'm saying at some point they will not be on this earth. And the biggest concern is that the old is dying. But us, the new, we are refusing to be born. We are not challenging the status quo. It's good to be coaches. That's the passion we have on the game. But who wants to take it and drive it? Look at West Africa and all other countries. You Edo and George Weah, a former footballer, is president of the country. How much hunger do we have? That's why we try and empower. That's why we speak of things like that. Because 2022, no. I have ambitions of being a SAFA president. And I will get it.
One day you will be.
And I'm saying this on record. And it's just how hungry I am. I'm learning as much as I can at SAFPU. I've got room to commit errors. That must not that must not swallow the organization. I learn, I'm determined. I have grown. I've got a vision. And I want to be SAFA president one day, and not in the not so distant future. It's exactly what I'm moving towards. What about everybody else? Today, it's like, but it's a favor. If we go NEC, SAFA, the statutes are locked. It closes footballers who have contributed to the game not to form part of the structure. So when constitutions are amended to satisfy me as SG and suit me while I'm in the position as SAFPU, so that people can come in, then I'm making the organization about me. I don't care about organizational growth. We can't. We need to claim and fight for a rightful place. But we are busy. Ramatisa and Amo as former players. I don't know what we are chasing.
Yeah. Instead of being united and working together.
Bigger and important issues on the agenda that requires us to understand fundamentally why do we exist and what is it that we want to contribute to this football. There's a lot that we can do, from inspiring to being coaches at schools, the programs where players can relate to a legend in the game. There's better chances of influence, where you've got a conditioner somewhere in the structures, where we are everywhere within the football space, growing from different levels, but making sure that we capture the game in the right way, but deservedly so, not by self-entitlement. Not because Utlasia 2004 or Utlasia 96, then this is what you must have. We will never have capable leaders if that's what we're looking at. The achievements, we appreciate. It has shaped football, it has contributed. Now let's talk another language. Who is a capable leader? People must raise their hands. But before we endorse, we need to know what you are all about and what is it that you are going to do and bring change. And you must have demonstrated it somewhere for us to have confidence in you. I'm not going to endorse you, TK, because Udletsi Polo and you were a captain of TKFC. For 15 years, we have Bafana, you have 2,000 caps. Now, I feel you need to take over this and that. No, that's where it's young. Be capable, work for it, shape yourself, get it as much as you want it, but prove that you are worthy. We'll support that. That's how we must revive the game, take football back. But we must mix with those club owners who are at Reaching and LFA who are there with development so that we can be able to have discussions. But we need numbers to shape and try and deal with things at this SAFPU level. At this point, I'm not really confident much of what is happening. But work has been done. And at some point, you need new people who must come through, who are innovative, who will take the agenda forward and carry it to its last conclusion. That's exactly what we want.
We'll see in the next 5 years, because I get the current one now, they just came in August, June. So we'll see how things are looking. But I've heard the old man said it's his last term, meaning he's not standing. If that's true, the next election is not standing.
Is it?
Yeah, I believe so. He said this is my last term. But you never know until it's the time.
I think sometimes people want to just die in these positions, TK. If you love an organization and whatever vision you had is not taking shape into the right direction, your organizational love must surpass your own love for yourself in the interest of yourself through what the organization gives you as a tool of power. Sometimes we need to let go, let others come through, get new ideas, fresh ideas, but let us build a succession plan. Don't close them out. We are young. We'll challenge the space. We'll ask questions. Somewhere, but don't suppress us. We have the energy. Sometimes we may think we know how. Guide us, but shape us into the right direction. These days, people don't want that. But if you are challenging or asking questions, how are we to grow? Tomorrow they die, we don't know what happens because it's where you have bomme ba dutse ko ntle go dipitseng ka montlong o dutse bontate ba discussa inkambiso yomsebenzi. Tomorrow they are in a bus driving somewhere, they all die. The sons must carry on and move. They were not part of these meetings. They asked the mothers, and the mothers were, hey, rona ne re sa duli ka mole no thwe fela lungisa umqombothi phekani papa yenzani ini yenzani asiyazi into la ekhaya. This is where we start to get lost. But if there's inclusion and everybody is there, phele leyo nto leyo, then the knowledge can move on and it can be passed on from generation to generation if we allow that inclusion. And we're never intimidated by people that challenge us with the right approach for the right reasons. That's exactly what ought to happen. South African football in terms of the women, I'm not happy with where it is. Yes, we've spoken. It's a very big agenda item on FIFPro's vision, you know. FIFPro Africa, FIFPro Global, including us as SAFPU, because we want these women to be elevated. But we have called with limited resources from their respective clubs. We've got those that play overseas. At least they come back, the experience has paid off and anything. We spoke about them, Kama Women's Month. What now?
Quite. The
pain and the suffering that women go through. As a country, we have learned to resist and not respect it. In fact, we ignore it. TK, just picture this. There's a woman who is a footballer, a female footballer. Pepile ngwana, She's a mother in the house. Wapeha stofu. Ke ngwana wapeha. She's a mother in the house. Hona le bana. O thusa ka homework, pepile ngwana wapeha. All right? Ntlu e faila. She must clean the house. Huseng o tlhapisa bana, o ba apesa uniform and they go to school. Ke sponsor. She prepares herself and goes to work if was span. After work, she comes back home. She needs to go and attend training. She goes and trains. After training, she comes back home, tired and defeated, with limited structures, with poor working conditions. She cooks for this family, take care of these kids, feed the father, love the father, protect the family, and go to bed. She is beaten throughout the day, but she's got passion for football. When she then plays this game, when resources are availed, it's a favor. We don't talk issues of equal work and equal pay. We don't talk issues of equality in terms of the service vis-a-vis the remuneration. No one pushes and fights for that. I can tell you this, we've seen it even in growing up. I think it's something that's embedded in us, which is bad tradition and bad culture. Because as ntate, you have a trip, le mme wa go lapeng. Ka itusen la tsamaya. Lena le bana ba 3. Mme packs the pack tsa bana ba 3 after having the very same day you had at work in coming through cooking and doing all the things that I've mentioned. Right. Tshwantsa pack it bag tsa bana ba, prepare everything, pack her own bag. To an extent that some men don't even pack their own bag. Prepare breakfast, alukisa ntho tse kaofela so that the logistics are in place. When I was working for 7, you take a quick shower, pero koleng, u shapa uta, u lwa le batho because u itse wa tsamaya wa 8. Mme u late, u fetsa u tlhapa, u santsana iphotsholonga a ilukisa. Now she comes in the car, there's great tension and there's fight because you have not assisted. But you want things to happen punctual without taking into consideration what is it that she's going through and how you as a father, a husband, and the person that claims to profess the love for this person, you can help and mitigate these issues and reduce the load in working together. Take it to football terms. If this is the attitude we will take, or the opposite of that attitude, and want to help and elevate women as footballers, just like the husband must assist the wife and identify these key areas where life is simple. We have the ability to speak with one voice and rapidly elevate the game. We must be activists for the right and the better good of the game. For these women, we are power, we've been strength. They are above us, they go through so much. There's little appreciation. Whatever they are given, it feels as though by fewer favor. In leadership positions, somewhere where they are put, they are added as a by the way. Okay, just position it is 6. 2 must be women. No. There's probably 4 women who are deserving to be there. Put these women in the structures. So it's still the mentality that I think we have inherited from the past, which we are moving with. And now sometimes our approach is very self-centered. We are not uplifting this. We don't care because we're not more really. That's what we are appealing for, to say, let us look at this, let us change our attitude. We have daughters who will grow, and even sons at the current state of things or the current status of football, who will play football. Your kid will ask you, today arahola or last month week. And then he asks, no, it's why is our Lord Lulukis? Our kids cannot face the struggles that we are facing.
It can be.
If we are determined parents and we want to shape their futures, we say, something must be done. So it's a similar thing, TK. Women's football needs to be taken serious. It must grow. They must be provided resources. And we just want them to be respected.
But I'm hoping them winning AFCON has triggered things, because after they won, they visited Union Building. I heard the president say they must end SMS Bafana. I hope that doesn't die. It will be followed up, and there must be feedback with progress. We hope. It wasn't the talk of giving trophies.
We hope. We hope,
yeah.
TK.
But that's your responsibility at SAFPU.
Yes.
That's what you need to push. Because when I sat here with your president, I asked, they said, no, ladies, they don't have contract. They're not regarded as workers now. They're not getting paid, so that's why they can't join the union. But he said it's some of the programs that you guys are engaging on. But one day maybe we'll get proper feedback and progress. Now, let's wrap.
Okay, before we do, I've got that progress and feedback.
Okay.
We are recruiting the women's sector.
Now.
Regardless of whether they have salaries or not. Yes. It's a resolution we have taken. We've engaged on it. We'll improve this. We'll fix it as we move along. Because if we are going to wait for them to have contracts, it's going to be a problem. But we can move from within and infiltrate that space so that we move for proper working conditions in that sector.
So you move with them without them having contracts?
We've amended our constitution.
Okay.
We are recruiting because our constitution did not factor in women, because football then was only a male-dominant sport. In fact, there were no women at all. In the current times, we needed to have a document that speaks to the current times and the current challenges that we face. And that's exactly what we have done. Not so long ago, last month, it's what we have done. There is inclusion on our constitution that looks at the recruitment and organizing that sector. It's our responsibility now. We can't wait for a perfect day before we get there. We are moving there. We'll slide and swim with them in that mud until we get to the clean waters. That's exactly what
that's positive and that's good, because I had my opinion that the women needs to be taken care of. Not that they're women, but because they deserve. Now, what are some of the programs that you are currently running? I know you are with SAFPU and you are passionate about it. Personal projects that you are busy with if you are not at SAFPU now because you've retired?
Yes, I have a foundation, TK. A Libisola Foundation is called Shine On Legacy Foundation.
Okay, Shine On.
Yes, spelled SHAENON. Not the shine on that we know in English. Sha is for Shabalala. EN is for Enoch, which is my second name. The N at the end is for Ntlantla.
Okay.
But which resonates very well with Shine On.
Shine On, yeah.
We are moving. The only intention and purpose is to shine the light into the future of these kids and shape their path and give them home. I've started in Mpumalanga, where I come from. COVID came, iphazamisitse, but we've done great in its launch. I'm a partner with Munare, whom I've encouraged.
That's Tabang
Orlando Pirates. And a community leader in Simon Malinga, where I come from, Bamtsiba as Madita. Sensible individuals who are passionate about the growth of the community around. So we want to shine the light Kompumalang, which at this present moment seems to be rising in the absence of its own people, the beneficiaries of that light. So we piloted it, and we had Utera Maliwa from Sundowns, who was a scout, who came through to just check, which we spoke to, who is passionate about football as well. Obringoma came through to support. Those kids were very excited and happy. Musali Busa was part of that as well from Sundowns. He was there to just look at things, give support, and encouragement and everything. And the impact that had in those kids is massive. And we want to grow and move it, because we want to not just create a foundation which seems as though we are selling dreams, like a lip service that people normally give, but we want one that will elevate their talent and take these kids to proper structures so they can further their football. But we want to restore hope. Alcohol is the business of the day, is very fashionable. Drugs, they are very fashionable, and sometimes the system fails us, because you write proposals, you ask, nothing happens. We started it from our own pockets and funded everything, the branding, even the kits that the kit that we gave to all 4 participants, the medals, every other thing, including the rewards, over and above the meals, which they had breakfast before they started, the lunch and everything else. It was from our own pockets. And there was assistance from 1 or 2 people. I mean, Vusi Tenjogai contributed, who's a very, is into football. He's the chairman now of the LFA on the other side. They contributed. There's Temba Mahlang, who's a close friend of mine, also contributed. Just to make that special mention. When it started, these are people that we called, and they gave a bit of what they can because of short notice. It has moved the ground, and we want it to grow from strength to strength because we are tired. We write these proposals. You speak to people at social development. Sometimes I think their interest is not about developing these kids. I think people's priorities have just gone sideways. So if you wait and beg, you become a spectator in the game that you ought to play and own. So they will catch the train moving, and if not, we will slowly move into private sector. I mean, Lisasol is one entity or an organization, as you know it's big, that we want to really sit down and talk about these things. They must contribute more than they do. Because last time I would have been Kompumalang, which is why I'm saying, when you don't know what you deserve, it's hard to fight for things because you think what is being done to you is favor. And you must be appreciative and not offend those who extend their hand. But if you understand and know the responsibility that others and other entities have to develop the communities that they belong in, you can go and demand more because you know your rights and everything. I mean, you can't have the team that have played at the end of the season. There's ceremonies, award, and Kilikia 10 teams, for an example. And the winner gets the medals and whatnot. Then number 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 to number 12. But all a ball each.
One ball.
Can't be, come on, TK. and it's like we are self-hating when we narrate these things. We want to change things and make it better. If we don't challenge the status quo, I can't be then invited into these events and embrace it and clap hands. Because if I see these wrongs, it's either I speak on the spot or we must have a meeting and really address these nonsensical things that I'm seeing that are happening because they offend my very nature. I can't keep quiet. Then don't invite me, but don't expect me that I won't fight. And it's not physical, but it's what is rightfully theirs. Because we talk about youth upliftment, we must avail all resources. Let these kids have options to choose. Let them get people who will come and give inspiring stories that will drive them. Let them rub hands with Utabang Munare Wasekasi, and all the other ones that I've spoken about, including Umusa Libusa and all, to realize that it's possible we can do it, and definitely that's what will revive the dream. Because at this point in time, the future is just doomed. And those who are sitting in strategic positions, key strategic positions, are only about self-enrichment, and none of the things are happening. You can't give a team that has 25 players one ball as a gratitude gift and showing appreciation for their commitment and dedication for the season that they have played. And that is it. Surely something must be done to empower these LFAs. Surely we've got big companies that need to come through and really change the model and how things ought to operate. We will seek accountability. We don't have issues, but what we want is betterment of these kids' lives, and they must be given what they deserve. We will sleep peacefully at night and we'll be happy that South Africa is changing, it's growing, our football is growing, we are raising community leaders and the best products for the future. And that's what we want.
And what are some of the programs now that your foundation is running, and how do people who want to contribute reach out to you? Because I know every organization will always have challenges. You need any help somewhere. So are you reachable, and what are your key challenges at the moment?
It would be the resources, TK. Because the model that we have, it needs to be funded in order for us to promote and elevate the talent and remove into the right structures. I left home when I was 14. I was fortunate. These kids don't have that platform and the opportunity. We know how that can happen, but we don't have all the money to do that. So the correct, proper structures, people who care about the growth of Embalentle, Pumalanga, in Standerton, Bethal, Leslie, everywhere, including the whole province. But at this point, the region where I come from, that's where we are starting that. We are open to discussion so that we can shape football on the other side and develop the best players that the country has ever seen. I mean, we've got the most achieved and decorated player in Memahlang, who won player of the season. Outside the shores, overseas, that's not a small achievement. He's by far my role model, as much as I was the first player in my region to play in the Premier Soccer League. For me, that is nothing. I was even reminded by people about that. But what I've seen him do is totally humbling. We need to inspire. What Thabang Munare has done is totally humbling. And then it's inspiring. Why is not the Billboard Kasi how can? When we have those best players who come from there, who have played at Bafana. Maybe we're scoring goals left, right, and center for Bafana. We have Munare who would have been in the Bafana now. He was also co-France. Regardless of the scoreline, kids saw him and they see him in the streets. They are inspired. Now, what are we promoting? How do we inspire these kids? Renali Billboard, yeah, Coke. We all know what Coke is. Can we have the leaders so these kids can relate? It's a constant reminder and they want to be on that billboard. What drives kids are small things. But we are not doing that. We are failing to inspire. We will just give them these low-lying fruits. It can't be. We need to really reorganize, reshuffle, reset our priorities to empower Banaba. I mean, we'll open a Facebook page. I'm not a social media person, Hakal. I've got a Twitter account, but it's just mine. And it's kid numbers.
Yeah.
So I'm not that much into that space, but I think through you will be able to then at least disseminate their info once I've given you, because it's not things that I have because I've not worked on the projects now for the last 2 years, because Nari must open his foundation. That must come through and move, and all others, including the players that we have spoken about, all professional players. If some of them can look into that, build, contribute back to their communities, that is key, and it touches hearts. And there's nothing that is better than the human relation stories that people can relate to. But in that sense, you are paving the way for yourself. You are becoming relevant. You will be loved. You will be given opportunities. It will work for you. Whatever you want to do, you will always have the support of the people. Don't wait and do it after football. Sometimes you are not as relevant as you would have been, and as impactful as you would have been if you were playing football. Let us start now. We are there to guide. We've spoken. Let's help each other. But let's develop those communities, those societies, and shape the future. It's our responsibility, TK. Otherwise, what are we living for? What kind of society are we building?
No, that's great, Shabba. That giving back to the community is very important, and the fact is that you guys understand it better. You know what it takes to move from Ekasi to the professional side, and anybody who's willing to assist, you can reach out to us. We'll link you with Shabba, and maybe by the time we release this episode, we'll have his accurate social media pages. Then we can also put them at the bottom of the screen. But having said that, they can always, my number is everywhere, so I'm a reachable person. You talk to me, I link you with him. What they are doing is very good. Alcohol and drugs is terrible, Ekasi. But if kuna machita from that township who played football and they are willing to help, to say, you are willing to still look at the whole community, that's commendable. And we appreciate that. You know, football, Mfana, we can talk the whole day. I still have things that I wanted to talk about, but I think we'll have to have another meeting and discuss other things, because when I'm discussing those things with you, I'm discussing them with somebody who knows the players' rights in out. You know, you can never know everything, but I can tap that you've got a lot of knowledge about players' rights. You know, I will want to have discussions with you about agents, your experience with them. And to know what are the things that you've seen while you were playing with you or teammates or friends, and you know?
Yeah, no, definitely. It's a discussion to be had, and whenever you're ready, or whenever you want me back, I will avail myself so that we can come through and share those experiences, because it's our responsibility to educate those who are out there who don't have access to, you know, such platforms or that information, as it were. And we appreciate what you are doing, because this show, I think it has demonstrated that it has disseminated a lot of information, and it has made a lot of people aware of what footballers sometimes face, because the understanding from the outside overview, it was that it's all sweets and chocolates, but sometimes it's not. And knowledge and understanding and investing your time to empower yourself and listen to people when they come and they want to talk, then take your own decisions, is very key. Because not wanting to listen, where you're going, you are not guided by anybody but your conscience, and you could be wrong, and there's nobody to stop you when you are falling into a pit hole. So you've raised a lot of awareness. People now can relate to stories of the game and the challenges, even the beautiful moments that players come to the studio and talk about, and we
Yeah.
appreciate such platforms. And it has been an honor to be here,
Yeah.
to be invited, and I'm truly grateful. Thank you very much.
No, thanks, Shabba. This is home. You'll find your way back here. I always say that, and many they will attest that they did make their way back here. But let me once again thank you for your time. From me, TK, it's a wrap on this one. Very, very interesting. We meet on the next episode. We continue to educate and advise South African public about South African football and what our players go through. Let's meet on the next episode. Bye-bye.